Chapter 4:18. In the ancient city, the people of the heavenly imperial palace gathered with the other forces of the spiritual state and left the sagely sky peak. The forces from the other 7 prefectures did not linger either. They all left in 2s and 3s. Only the major forces of the central state were still investigating the sagely sky secret realm. In less than half a day, the sagely sky city, which was bustling with noise and excitement because of the upcoming 9 states' heaven ranking, became much quieter. Of course, the major forces of the other 8 states all left on the surface. However, they still secretly sent spies to see if the extraterritorial demon race would appear. At this moment, in an ancient pavilion thousands of miles away from the sagely sky peak, 2 figures were watching the situation on the sagely sky peak through a rune light mirror. One of them was dressed in black and had a muscular body, while the other was dressed in white and had a handsome face. They were the 2 ancient demon race members. The plan was supposed to be foolproof. Who would have thought that there would be such an unforeseen event? This kid from the heavenly imperial palace is a little strange. The handsome man in white looked at Qin Yu's face on the rune light mirror and murmured softly. His voice was filled with astonishment. The dozens of martial emperors of the soul demon race were unable to stop Qin Yu alone. This kind of battle strength was not something that could be achieved by someone of the younger generation. Moreover, Qin Yu's cultivation was only at the rank 3 martial emperor realm. Although we failed to throw the celestial demon luck to the sovereigns of the Qin Yun realm and cause them to be suspicious of each other and fight among themselves. However, the celestial demon luck was originally a bait to attract the attention of the sovereigns of the Qin Yun realm. The real plan has already succeeded. As for the fish that escaped the net, no matter how strange he is still a person who is about to die. Why should we care about him? The muscular man in black sneered as a faint demonic mark appeared on his face. That's true. The handsome man in white smiled and retracted his gaze. The celestial demon luck was left behind by the ancient celestial demon race. Apart from the ancient gods, who could refine it, other living beings would definitely die if they were contaminated by it. Their original plan was to use the celestial demon luck to mislead the sovereigns of the Qin Yun realm into thinking that it was the divine vein of fortune of the Qin Yun realm. They would fight among themselves to consume the Qin Yun realm's strength. In any case, whoever obtained the godfiend karmic luck would die. Who would have thought that the divine demon fate Qi would be snatched away by a mere martial emperor realm junior? This was far beyond their expectations. Everything is going according to plan. The next step is to wait for the seed to germinate. The cold smile on the black-clothed man's face deepened, and the excitement in his eyes could not be concealed. After preparing for so long, it was finally time to officially start the plan. I reckon that there will be a big operation in the 9 prefectures of the heaven domain soon. Let's not get into trouble for now. The handsome man in white was also quite happy, but he was still extremely calm. It's too late to take action now. Amidst the cold laughter, the 2 ancient demons dissipated like a breeze, leaving no trace behind. Heavenly Imperial Palace in the northern region of the spiritual state. After returning from the sagely sky peak in the central region, the Emperor Tian Palace immediately entered a state of high readiness for battle. Many Emperor Realm Masters and countless martial emperors were dispatched to thoroughly investigate the territories of all the forces. This time, it wasn't as secretive as last time. Not only Heavenly Imperial Palace, but all the major forces in the spiritual state also took action with great momentum. The entire spiritual state was shaken. However, the results of the thorough investigation allowed the forces of the spiritual state to relax a little. Except for the barren areas at the edge of the extraterritorial battlefield, there were shadows of the extraterritorial demons. There were no large numbers of extraterritorial demons lurking in the spiritual state. At most, they found traces of small groups of extraterritorial demons invading some remote broken continent. Qin Yu ignored the traces of the extraterritorial demons. After returning to the Emperor Tian Palace, the first thing he did was to go into seclusion to refine the 9-colored ball of light in the creation immortal seal. Roar. While he was refining the power of providence in the 9-colored ball of light with the creation immortal seal, in a trance, Qin Yu heard a deafening roar. That roar contained supreme majesty as if it came from the ancient times, crossing time and space. Before Qin Yu could react, within the 9-colored ball of light, ancient and mysterious currents appeared, breaking free from the creation immortal seal and sweeping through Qin Yu's soul sea. Qin Yu's body stiffened as his soul sea was controlled. This is the ancient godfiend aura? In his soul sea, Qin Yu looked at the godfiend aura that was like a ferocious demon flying wantonly in his soul sea, and his heart sank. He finally understood that the 9-colored ball of light was not the heavenly domain's godly meridian of providence at all. It was an extremely evil thing that contained the power of the ancient godfiend. Godfiend aura? This is troublesome. The dragon soul turned into a wisp of soul body and appeared in Qin Yu's soul sea, its voice grave. The ancient godfiend clan was extremely powerful. At their peak, they had even killed gods. Therefore, they called themselves the Godfiend clan, meaning that they could kill gods and demons. If not for the Godfiend clan being too ambitious and trying to enslave all the gods, triggering the ancient war between gods and demons, the ancient Godfiend clan definitely had the strength to unify the 9-state. It's not an ordinary problem. Qin Yu's voice was grave. The 9-colored ball of light did contain the power of providence. That was not the power of the heavenly domain's godly meridian of providence, but the providence of the ancient Godfiend clan. Along with the seal of providence, there was also the ancient Godfiend aura. Is this a trap set by the extraterritorial demons? The dragon soul's tone was not good. After using all means, it thought that it had obtained a treasure. In the end, it was a big problem. Qin Yu did not know that the 9-colored ball of light was imprisoned by the extraterritorial demons in the Saint Heaven's secret realm. They had deliberately brought it to the Saint Heaven's secret realm to deal with the sovereigns of the heavenly domain. Of course, it was meaningless to think about it. Now, the hot potato had fallen on Qin Yu. Earlier, Qin Yu had used various secret techniques such as the soul-devouring curse, divine sealing light, and sky-swallowing dragon seal. However, they could not annihilate the Godfiend aura. The Godfiend aura contained a trace of immortal will that could not be extinguished by external forces. It should have been left behind by an extremely powerful Godfiend in ancient times. More importantly, Qin Yu could clearly feel it. The fiend god Qi was constantly absorbing his soul power, and it was clearly becoming more and more powerful. It still doesn't work. After using the primordial war dragon seal, it did not cause any deterrence to the Godfiend aura. Qin Yu frowned deeply. I can only try my luck. After thinking for a while, Qin Yu had an idea. The Providence star in the Fortune celestial seal suddenly cracked and turned into countless mysterious Providence light spots that merged into Qin Yu's pores. According to the records of the fortune stealing art, the Providence star consumed Providence to change the trajectory of fate. Therefore, Qin Yu wanted to see if the Providence star was as mysterious as recorded in the fortune stealing art. If it really had such a miraculous effect, it might be able to help Qin Yu get out of this predicament. Buzz, buzz. As the Providence star entered his body, a familiar buzzing sound suddenly came from Qin Yu's body. This is, after being slightly stunned, Qin Yu's eyes immediately lit up. Chapter 419. A mysterious mark appeared on Qin Yu's right palm, trembling slightly. It was the God Power mark. As the God Power mark appeared, the ancient Godfiend Qi that was flying in Qin Yu's soul sea and absorbing soul power immediately showed signs of hostility. Although the ancient Godfiend Qi contained a trace of immortal will, it had long lost its intelligence. The hostility was purely due to the fluctuations of the ancient Godfiend Qi. After all, the ancient God-fiend clan was completely destroyed by the ancient gods in the great war of gods and demons. How could I forget about this god power mark? The dragon soul's grave expression immediately turned to joy. The ancient God-fiend clan was destroyed by the ancient gods. This meant that the ancient God-fiend Chi was stronger than the ancient God-fiend Chi. Qin Yu was also quite happy. He had always thought of this god power mark as a useless thing. Because the era of the ancient gods had passed, divine power was replaced by true essence. With the little divine power in the god power mark, it could not increase one's strength at all. He did not expect it to be so useful now. Of course, compared to the god power mark, Qin Yu was more interested in the use of the Providence Star. As recorded in the heaven-stealing creation art, the Providence Star had the power to change the trajectory of fate. Perhaps it was too much to say that it could change fate, but at the critical moment, it could indeed break through a hopeless situation. Refine. Qin Yu collected his thoughts, and the God power mark appeared in his soul sea. A solemn and vast divine power was emitted from the God power mark. The hostility of the ancient God-fiend Shi became more obvious. Then, it rushed madly toward the God power mark, as if it wanted to erase the God power mark. The God power mark emitted even more divine power, and rays of ancient God-fiend Chi scattered in the void. The primordial fiend god Chi that pounced over quickly dissipated like snow melting in spring. As it dissipated, strands of strange air currents appeared. The Providence Star and ancient God-fiend Chi? Qin Yu's eyes shone brighter. Those strange Chi were the Providence Star and ancient God-fiend Chi that contained the ancient God-fiend Chi. Qin Yu did not hesitate and immediately activated the creation immortal seal and God power mark. Immediately, as soon as the strange airflow appeared, it was immediately divided up. The stars of providence that had been depleted gradually appeared in the creation celestial seal. As for the divine power imprint, after absorbing the divine power left behind by the ancient Godfiend, the ancient Godfiend's divine power became even stronger. As time passed, the chi of the primordial fiend gods was disappearing faster and faster. In less than an hour, a somewhat unwilling roar rang out. All of the primordial fiend god chi was completely annihilated. The sealing power in Qin Yu's soul sea disappeared. The primordial god power in the god power imprint had increased by several times. Of course, in terms of battle prowess, the ancient divine power was still useless. However, after absorbing the Godfiend Providence, the celestial seal of creation had formed 5 stars of providence. This was a genuine opportunity. Qin Yu had only condensed 1 star of providence after going through the fiendish demon sea's void space and fighting on the spiritual state battle ranking list. But now, he had condensed 5 at once. It was easy to imagine how much providence was contained in that ball of Godfiend Providence. The 2 ancient demon clans would never have thought that this would happen. They originally thought that Qin Yu was dead for sure. Not only did he manage to refine the fiend god Providence, but he also obtained quite a bit of fortuitous opportunity. After dealing with the Godfiend Providence, Qin Yu's focus was on cultivation. During this time, the entire imperial palace and even the spiritual state were on guard against the extraterritorial demons. Qin Yu, Sun Xiu, and the other young people were completely forbidden to cultivate in the imperial palace. Qin Yu knew how serious the possible invasion of the extraterritorial demons was. Therefore, he was not in a hurry to find the dragon race. He would cultivate for a while and wait for the news to pass. While the 9 states of the heaven realm were thoroughly investigating the possible invasion of the extraterritorial demons. Half a year passed by unknowingly. In this half a year, the originally tense and solemn atmosphere of the heaven realm had quietly relaxed. Even the spiritual state, which was connected to the extraterritorial battlefield, was much more relaxed. Such a large-scale operation did not find any trace of the extraterritorial demons. It seemed that the extraterritorial demons had only invaded the holy heaven's secret realm, and had not infiltrated the 9 states of the heaven realm. Another 2 months passed. The ancient emperor of a large sect in the central state killed a powerful demon sovereign in the extraterritorial battlefield. The news obtained after the soul search completely relieved the 9 states of the heaven realm. The memory information of the demon sovereign confirmed the previous speculation of the heaven realm sovereign. The extraterritorial demons had indeed only invaded the holy heaven's secret realm. Their purpose was to destroy the divine pulse of fortune of the heaven realm and cause the divine pulse of fortune of the heaven realm to decline. In the divine land, in a certain fog sea, there was a lone island. On the lone island, a figure meditating cross-legged, surrounded by dense spirit chi, slowly opened his eyes. If Qin Yu was here, he would definitely recognize that this person was AOD. AOD had suffered serious injuries during the trip to the Fiend Demon Sea. He had recuperated here for more than a year, and the internal injuries in his body had all healed. The terrifying power of the Emperor Realm suppressed the heavens and the earth. Swish! As AOD finished his seclusion, a blue light broke through the air and appeared in front of him. Young Master! It was a young man, who knelt on one knee in front of AOD with great respect. This young man was dressed in a blue robe, and there were faint blue lines on his face. The pressure emanating from his body was also the aura of the Dragon Clan. Aogio, have you found out the background of that kid from the Heavenly Imperial Palace? AOD asked. I have thoroughly investigated this person in the Heavenly Imperial Palace and the spiritual state. But I can't find out where he came from before he went to the Heavenly Imperial Palace. A crystal stone appeared in the hand of the blue-robed man named Aogio. AOD waved his hand and sucked the crystal stone, and his true essence surged. As the spirit chi spread out, scenes appeared in front of AOD. In those scenes, there was Qin Yu's status in the Heavenly Imperial Palace, as well as the Battle of the Spiritual State battle ranking. It could be said that Aogio had investigated Qin Yu's actions after he came to the spiritual state in great detail. He can still use its origin power without summoning the Purple Thunder Divine Cloud Dragon? AOD carefully looked at Qin Yu's battles on the spiritual state battle ranking. When he saw Qin Yu directly use the Purple Thunder Divine Cloud Dragon's Divine Cloud Lightning, he was stunned. AOD was slightly stunned, and a thoughtful look appeared in his eyes. Even as a descendant of the Dragon Emperor, he had never seen such a secret technique before. No, that's not important. What's important is, AOD, who was thinking, suddenly came back to his senses. He didn't need to find out what kind of secret technique Qin Yu cultivated. What was important now was that after Qin Yu subdued the Purple Thunder Divine Cloud Dragon, he could use its origin power. Qin Yu had now mastered as many as 5 types of Dragon Clan's origin power. Didn't that mean that Qin Yu had already subdued 5 dragons? Chapter 420. Thinking of this, AOD became more and more curious about Qin Yu. As the Dragon Emperor, he was determined to establish the Eternal Dragon Nation. But so far, other than Aogio, he had not subdued any other dragon. And Qin Yu, a mere human, had subdued 5 dragons? If this was true, it would probably shock the entire dragon race. But immediately, a fiery greed appeared in AOD's eyes. This was an excellent opportunity for him. As long as he subdued Qin Yu, he would be able to obtain 5 dragons. At that time, Qin Yu's secrets would naturally be exposed. Let's go. A smile appeared on AOD's face as he stood up and flew into the sky with Aogio. Half a month later, Spirit State, Northern Region, Heavenly Imperial Palace. After more than half a year of confinement, the confinement of the younger generation of Heavenly Imperial Palace was also relaxed. Although Qin Yu, Sun Xiu and the others were still protected by Emperor Realm Masters, they were no longer restricted from going out. The further one progressed in the martial Emperor Realm, the more difficult it was to cultivate. Therefore, martial emperors could not blindly cultivate. Sun Xiu and the others would occasionally go out to gain experience. Experiencing life and death battles was extremely beneficial for the comprehension of the martial Tao. Just like the Emperor Realm Shi Tiangang, he would either not cultivate. Once he had comprehended something, he would immediately go into seclusion for dozens or even hundreds of years. In the palace, Qin Yu's eyes suddenly opened as he completely absorbed the majestic spiritual energy that had gathered around him. After more than half a year of cultivation, Qin Yu's cultivation had become more and more refined and had reached the limit of rank 3 Martial Emperor. He would probably be able to reach rank 4 Martial Emperor after a few more months of cultivation. Dragon Soul, are you sure you sense the fluctuation of the dragon race? The reason why Qin Yu ended his cultivation was that the dragon race had sensed the dragon race's aura in the spirit state. I should be right. The dragon soul's tone was very certain, but its expression was a little surprised. The spirit state was indeed very big and boundless. However, the dragon soul had reached Martial Emperor realm. If the dragon race still existed in the spirit state, it would have sensed it long ago. Why did it only discover it today? That dragon clan aura seemed to have appeared out of nowhere, which made the dragon soul feel even more strange. Could it be the descendant of the Dragon Emperor? Qin Yu pondered for a moment as he recalled Aod, whom he had fought in the empty dimension. The purple thunder divine firmament dragon had been snatched away by him, so Aod would definitely not let him off easily. The bloodline aura is different. The dragon's soul shook its head. What he sensed was not just pure dragon aura, but the most fundamental bloodline aura of the dragon race. Every dragon, even if they came from the same bloodline, had a unique origin bloodline. Although Aod had the means to conceal the dragon aura in his bloodline and hide from the dragon soul's detection secret technique, he was still unable to do so. However, it was impossible to change the origin of his bloodline. No matter what, since I've sensed the dragon clan, I can't let them go. After pondering for a moment, Qin Yu decided. Now that the situation in the heavenly domain was rather delicate, Qin Yu had a feeling that the extraterritorial devil race would take action. Even if his cultivation speed was 50 times faster, it was still too slow for Qin Yu. Subduing and devouring the dragon clan was the fastest way to become stronger. Qin Yu's original plan was to search for the dragon clan after plundering the fortune in the 9 states heaven list battle. However, because of the invasion of the Saint Heaven-sealed world by the extraterritorial devil race, he had to change his plan. Now that the situation had improved, Qin Yu naturally could not stay in the Heavenly Emperor Palace forever. Otherwise, he did not know when he would be able to kill Star Luo and the 12 ancient emperors. Just in case, should we ask the Heavenly Emperor Palace for help? The dragon soul asked. Even if I don't ask the Heavenly Emperor Palace to follow me, they will not agree. Qin Yu smiled. The dragon soul did not need to remind him. He would not be polite when he needed to use the power of the Heavenly Emperor Palace. Half an hour later, Qin Yu, accompanied by 3 Emperor Realm Masters, headed towards the location of the Dragon Clan's aura. If we go further, we will be in the territory adjacent to the sacrificial evil god dynasty. After flying for hundreds of thousands of miles, an Emperor Realm Elder raised his eyebrows slightly. The other 2 Emperor Realm Masters also looked at Qin Yu. Because of the extraterritorial devil race, the Heavenly Emperor Palace and the sacrificial evil god dynasty had restrained themselves. However, this did not mean that these 2 great forces would coexist peacefully. When the limelight was completely over, the Heavenly Emperor Palace and the sacrificial evil god dynasty would have a super war. It might even affect the balance of forces in the entire spirit state. Because of this, whether it was the Heavenly Emperor Palace or the sacrificial evil god dynasty, during this period of time, they did not send anyone to the other's territory. At least, they did not do so openly. Qin Yu raised his eyebrows slightly when he heard this. The dragon soul sensed that the dragon clan's aura was located in the northern territory of the spirit state. However, He did not expect that it would be at the border of the sacrificial evil god dynasty. Could it be that the sacrificial evil godly dynasty had something to do with it? 3 elders. Immediately, Qin Yu discussed with the 3 Emperor Realm Masters. Not long after, Qin Yu, who had used his disguise technique, walked alone towards the location of the Dragon Clan's aura. As for the 3 Emperor Realm Masters, they had disappeared. Soon, Qin Yu arrived in front of an ancient city. This ancient city was one of the cities under the direct jurisdiction of the sacrificial blood god dynasty. It was tens of thousands of miles wide, and there were many powerhouses in it. Even in the ancient city, there was an extremely clear pressure shrouding it. This was an ancient city guarded by an Emperor Realm Master. For the Dragon Clan to appear here, Qin Yu felt even more that this matter was strange. They really took the bait. When Qin Yu entered the city in disguise in a restaurant in the ancient city, a figure revealed a smile at the corner of his mouth. This person was Aod. Sure enough, as he expected, Qin Yu could sense the aura of the Dragon Clan. It seemed that Qin Yu had most likely obtained the inheritance of a powerful Dragon Clan. With that thought in mind, Aod quietly left the restaurant. At this moment, in the western district of the ancient city, Qin Yu stopped in front of a remote ancient mansion. This is a trap specially set for me. Qin Yu was able to sense that there were powerful formation array fluctuations in the surroundings of this mansion. But after stopping for a while, Qin Yu stepped in. The moment he stepped in, everything in front of him changed rapidly. The original mansion had turned into a turbulent ocean. Aogyo, who was dressed in green, broke out of the water and looked at Qin Yu, who had disguised himself. Half-step divine grade, 8 desolate wind flame dragon. Qin Yu sized up Aogyo, who appeared, and a light flashed in his eyes. 8 desolate wind flame dragon was a rare dragon clan with wind and fire attribute. If one was lucky enough, they could awaken 2 divine abilities of the Dragon Clan. Seal. After Aogyu appeared, he did not talk nonsense and directly attacked. The vast sea turned into a boundless cage, completely sealing Qin Yu. But in the next moment an explosion sounded. That Qin Yu who was sealed directly exploded. He turned into a cloud of smoke and dissipated. Incarnation? Aogyu was slightly startled and immediately rushed out of the sea array. Outside the residence, a figure was rushing out of the city at an extremely fast speed like a beam of light. Chapter 421. Kacha. Almost at this moment, an astonishing cold current spread out. Wherever the cold current passed, everything was frozen. In an instant, hundreds of miles of the ancient city turned into ice, causing a violent disturbance. The one who made the move was Aod, who was originally rushing towards the mansion. Aod's move was fast, freezing hundreds of miles in an instant, but he still couldn't stop Qin Yu from leaving. This little brat, he noticed it long ago. Aod raised his eyebrows slightly. With his current Emperor Realm cultivation, he naturally wouldn't fail to freeze Qin Yu. However, Qin Yu's clone was also frozen. Qin Yu had obviously noticed a trap long ago, so he had been using his clone to test the waters. Young master, could there be an ambush? With a flash, Aogyu appeared and asked Aod, who was about to chase after him. Even if there is an ambush, we have to chase after him. Aod didn't waver. Cold chi spread out as he immediately chased after him. This time, he had already alerted the enemy. If he couldn't capture Qin Yu, if he wanted to lure Qin Yu out again, there would be no other way. As for an ambush, this ancient city was already in the territory of the sacrificial evil god dynasty. It was impossible for the Heavenly Emperor Palace to send many Emperor Realm Masters. If it was just an ordinary Emperor Realm ambush, Aod wouldn't be afraid at all. Who dares to be presumptuous in my evil wind city? At this moment, a mighty roar sounded. An incomparably violent hurricane suddenly swept over. The ice in the ancient city immediately shattered inch by inch. I'll stop him! Aogio's body was covered in azure dragon scales, but his eyes had turned as red as magma. His cultivation had already reached the half-step Emperor realm. With the Dragon Clan's source divine abilities and secret techniques, although he couldn't defeat an Emperor realm master. But he could still delay him for a while. Ice Seal. Aod looked indifferently at the Emperor realm master of the sacrificial evil god dynasty, then looked at Qin, whose aura was getting farther and farther away. He stomped his right foot in the air, and a layer of crystal-clear ice appeared, followed by endless cracking sounds. In an instant, the surrounding thousands of miles turned into a world of ice. The Emperor Realm Masters from Sacrificial Evil God Dynasty, who were rushing towards them, had yet to react. He was frozen in the void, unable to move at all. The fear in his eyes was unconcealable. But Aod moved his finger slightly, and the ice in the void of the ancient city immediately shattered. The Emperor Realm Master from Sacrificial Evil God Dynasty shattered into pieces of ice and dissipated. Even the Sovereign Spirit was unable to escape this calamity, and its soul was completely destroyed. Whoosh! In the next instant, a shadow flashed across the ice. Aod used the ice escape technique to appear in front of Qin, who was also completely frozen. Long time no see. Aod looked at Qin indifferently. Back then, in the void dimension, his cultivation had been suppressed, and Qin had Taoist technique. That was why Qin managed to snatch the purple thunder divine firmament dragon away. But now, he was able to casually crush Qin. You should know what I want. If you want to live, you'd better know your limits. Aod pointed his finger and an ancient ice seal entered Qin body, trying to control Qin soul. This is the Dragon Qi derivation technique? Could it be? But in the next instant Aod was stunned. He saw Qin, who was still alive, turn into wisps of Dragon Qi and evaporate before his eyes. Attack! All of a sudden, two figures pounced on Aod at lightning speed. Vast Taoist techniques swept across the sky and earth, causing all living beings to tremble in fear. It was the Emperor Realm Elders from Heavenly Imperial Palace. Ancient space-time slaughtering array. At the same time, Aogio, Qin, and another Emperor Realm Master rushed out from behind. Qin used a slaughtering array, and the Emperor Realm Master did not hold back either, suppressing them with lightning speed. They had seen Aod's attack just now. Whether it was Qin or the three Emperor Realm Masters from Heavenly Imperial Palace, they knew that they did not have many chances. The three Emperor Realm Masters from Heavenly Imperial Palace were also high-level emperors. Otherwise, they would not have been personally arranged by Shi Tiangang to protect Qin. But even so, they could not kill an Emperor Realm Master in one move like Aod. Even the Emperor Realm Master from Sacrificial Evil God Dynasty had just entered this realm. But it was difficult for even a high-level Emperor Realm Master to kill him in one move. It was easy for an Emperor Realm Master to defeat his opponent, but it was not as simple as a martial Emperor Realm Master to kill him. Aod's strength was evident. To be honest, if Qin had not used a secret technique to deceive Aod, their plan would have succeeded. They would have forcibly taken Qin away, and would not have taken the risk. Roar! A sky-shaking dragon roar sounded, and Aogio, who was in danger, turned into the 8 desolate wind flame dragon. Destructive hurricanes and violent heavenly flames erupted, and Aod rushed out fearlessly. An earth-shattering battle immediately broke out. Get lost! Aod, who was stunned for a moment because of the Dragon Qi derivation technique, immediately came back to his senses. A dazzling icy blue light bloomed all over his body, and icy blue ice blades burst out in an overwhelming manner. The two Emperor Realm Masters from Heavenly Imperial Palace attacked with their Tao technique. They were either frozen or pierced through and could not get close to Aod at all. Heaven's War Emperor Transformation. Immortal Stone Emperor Seal. The two Emperor Realm Masters from Heavenly Imperial Palace looked solemn. The Stone Emperor Divine Ability and War Emperor divine ability were used together, and they used all their strength to hold Aod back. Although their cultivation was not as good as Aod's, it was not a problem for them to hold him back with all their strength. As long as Qin Yu ended the battle, they could retreat. Pung pung pung. On Qin Yu's side, he had completely gained the upper hand in the battle. Ao Jiu could indeed match an Emperor Realm Master with all his strength, but only against an ordinary Emperor Realm Master. In front of a high-level Emperor Realm Master, he was still not strong enough. Qin Yu trapped Ao Jiu with a killing array, and after he could not escape, his hands quickly formed a seal. Wisps of mysterious dragon chi appeared between Qin Yu's fingers and turned into a mysterious light. Ao Jiu could feel the terrifying fluctuations from the mysterious light between Qin Yu's hand seals. Ao Jiu, who had revealed his 8 desolate wind flame dragon body, felt an uncontrollable chill in his heart. If you want to die, I'll fulfill your wish. Aod also noticed the danger Ao Jiu was in, and the murderous intent in his eyes soared as a 100-meter-long ice dragon condensed behind him. Divine ability, heaven and earth freeze. With a cold roar, crystal-clear ice-blue ice talismans shot out and merged into the void. Ka. Immediately, an extremely shocking ice-blue spread wildly. The sky within a 10,000-kilometer radius instantly turned into an ice-blue and transparent world of ice. This time, the ice did not just freeze physical objects, but even the void was frozen. There was no space for living in this world, and it was like a huge ice cube. Heaven and Earth Freeze was one of the strongest divine abilities of the former Dragon Emperor. With a single thought, he could freeze the 9 heavens, 10 earths, and billions of mountains and rivers. Pung pung pung. The 2 Emperor Realm Masters from the Heavenly Emperor Palace who were closest to the ice kept shattering it, but they were not frozen. However, they suffered a heavy blow and were sent flying while vomiting blood. The Heavens War Emperor Transformation and Indestructible Stone Emperor Seal were completely turned into ice sculptures. Fight. On Qin Yu's side, the Emperor Realm Master who was suppressing Ao Jiu saw this. With a roar, with surging fighting spirit, he stood in front of Qin Yu, blocking the ice that was coming at him with all his strength. Seal. Almost at this moment, Qin Yu's hand seal slapped the air. The mysterious light turned into a stream of light and entered Ao Jiu's body. Chapter 422. Buzz. Immediately, Ao Jiu's 1,000-foot-long 8 desolate wind flame dragon body froze, and his flame-like dragon eyes dimmed. Ao Jiu. Aod's murderous intent surged as he turned into a stream of ice and blasted towards Qin Yu and Ao Jiu. Swish. But in the next moment, the mysterious light appeared from Ao Jiu's body. Let's go. Qin Yu took back the mysterious light and didn't stay to fight. He immediately retreated with the 3 Emperor Realm Masters from Heavenly Imperial Palace. His bloodline source was taken? Aod appeared beside Ao Jiu, who had transformed into the 8 desolate wind flame dragon. After a careful inspection, his expression changed drastically. In that instant earlier, Qin Yu had actually taken away Ao Jiu's origin bloodline. The Dragon Clan was basically crippled after losing their bloodline source. This made Aod's eyes burst with murderous intent. However, looking at Qin Yu and the other 3 who were quickly escaping, Aod finally suppressed his murderous intent. Having his origin dragon blood taken away by Qin Yu in such a rude and unreasonable manner, Ao Jiu's condition was extremely bad. If he was careless, he might lose his life. Aod had the urge to kill Heavenly Imperial Palace directly. But now, the most important thing was to stabilize Ao Jiu's injuries. Aod immediately left with Ao Jiu and disappeared in the blink of an eye. Swish. 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 Soon after the battle ended, several high-level Emperor Realm Masters from Sacrificial Evil God Dynasty arrived and immediately started an investigation. The death of an Emperor Realm Master guarding the city was not a big deal to their Sacrificial Evil God Dynasty. But if someone dared to touch their people, the significance was different. This was a provocation to their heavenly imperial palace. An eye for an eye, a tooth for a tooth, blood for blood. Otherwise, their heavenly imperial palace would lose face, and how could they maintain a foothold in the spirit state? Soon, a shocking news spread in the northern region and quickly spread to the entire spirit state. Heavenly Imperial Palace invaded the city of sacrificial evil god dynasty and killed their emperor. The spirit state, which had gradually calmed down because they didn't find any traces of the extraterritorial demon race's invasion. Undercurrents surged again as countless forces watched in the dark. If Heavenly Imperial Palace and sacrificial evil god dynasty were to fight, it would definitely cause a huge upheaval in the power structure of the entire spirit state. Regardless of the outcome of the battle, it was a good thing for the other forces. As long as there was a war, the strength of the Heavenly Imperial Palace and the sacrificial evil deity dynasty would be greatly weakened. It would be even better if both sides suffered heavy losses. When this news spread, Qin Yu and the 3 Emperor Realm Masters had already returned to the Heavenly Imperial Palace. This time, not only did he injure 3 high-order Emperor Realm Elders, but he also deepened his grievances with Heavenly Emperor Palace and evil sacrificial god dynasty. More importantly, it had given the Sky Emperor Palace a top-notch Emperor expert. Aod's strength was definitely comparable to an Emperor Realm Master in the Central State. This was no small matter. Not long after Qin Yu returned to the Heavenly Imperial Palace, he was summoned to the Holy Temple by Shi Tiangang. In the spacious and majestic Sacred Hall, Shi Tiangang sat on the main seat. On both sides sat 20 Emperor Masters, all of whom were high-level Emperor Masters. The foundation of the Sky Emperor Palace as a top force was fully displayed at this moment. Among the 20 people, the 10 on the left were the descendants of the 3 emperors, and the 10 on the right were the descendants of the War Emperor. With such a big commotion, the high-level Emperor Masters on both sides could not sit still. Xinfeng, who is the Emperor Master who appeared in Evil Wind City this time? What grievances do you have with him? Shi Tiangong's face was solemn as he asked straightforwardly. Obviously, he already knew what had happened. Provoking an Emperor Realm Master was not a small problem for any force. If the other party was also from a great force, it would be fine, but if he was a rogue cultivator, then the matter would be serious. After all, having a great force meant having a family and business, just like the current situation of the evil sacrificial god dynasty and the Heavenly Emperor Palace. The foundations of these 2 great forces were extremely shocking, but because of this they had many concerns. That was why they had been restraining themselves from fighting. But if it was a rogue cultivator, the other party would not have any concerns, and the Heavenly Imperial Palace's influence was so large. Once the other party retaliated, it would be a huge blow to the Heavenly Imperial Palace. I don't know his background. As for the grievances, they were formed when we were in the void space last time. Qin Yu said with an indifferent expression. The void space? Shi Tiangong's expression changed slightly. Aod's appearance had been sealed by the talisman stone. Now that Shi Tiangang was reminded by Qin Yu, he started to recall Aod. Xinfeng, do you know what kind of trouble provoking a top Emperor Master will bring to the palace? A stern voice sounded. A fat high-level Emperor Master stared at Qin Yu with an unfriendly gaze. He was the descendant of a war general. He already had the intention to kill Qin Yu, who had suddenly emerged. The speed of Qin Yu's rise was too shocking. In the past, they only thought that Qin Yu's aptitude was at most on par with Sun Shiyu's. But judging from the spiritual state war ranking, Sun Shiyu was far inferior to him. Such talent made the descendants of the 12 war emperors feel a sense of crisis. Since we have already provoked him, we just have to solve the problem. Qin Yu's expression did not change in the slightest. Aod obviously wanted to deal with him, so Qin Yu naturally would not be soft-hearted. If not for his lack of strength, Qin Yu would not have only taken the dragon blood of the 8 desolate wind flame dragon. The dragon blood origin in Aodi's body was the real deal. Presumptuous! You have caused such a big trouble for the palace, and you still don't repent. Palace Master, this matter must be severely punished and must not be tolerated. Another War General Emperor Master spoke in a dignified and righteous voice. Shenfeng did not do anything wrong in this matter. Someone wants to kill him, but he can't just sit and wait, right? Among the descendants of the 3 war emperors, someone spoke. It was Sun Yunlang. I know Shenfeng's aptitude is among the best in the palace, but without rules, nothing can be accomplished. In the future, if everyone is as arrogant as him, won't the heavenly imperial palace be in chaos? The fat Emperor Master did not give Sun Yunlang any face. That's right. This matter is clearly caused by Shenfeng himself. He must be severely punished. The War General Emperor Master who spoke before spoke again in a dignified voice. Just now, Shenfeng already said that he had a grudge with that Emperor Master because he fought over the 7-colored immortal Qilin in the void. Now, that Emperor Master wants to attack Qin Yu because of this matter, and you want to punish Shenfeng at this time? If you are really so afraid of that person, then just give the 7-colored immortal Qilin to that person. Sun Yunlang sneered, taking a step back in order to advance. Hand over the 7-colored immortal Qilin? When the descendants of the war general heard this, they all communicated with each other. That was a true immortal beast. Only a fool would hand over the immortal Qilin for a peak Emperor Master. In fact, Qin Yu did not say that he had a grudge with Aod because of the 7-colored immortal Qilin. However, the descendants of the 12 war generals did not know the specific details of how he obtained the 7-colored immortal Qilin. Now that he said so, the descendants of the war general would naturally have a preconceived notion. Shenfeng, go back first. The situation outside is too chaotic during this period, so don't go out to train for the time being. Shi Tiangang finally spoke and made a decision. Yes. After answering, Qin Yu took his leave. Chapter 423. Palace Master, this time, Shenfeng not only asked us to establish a peak Emperor Realm Master. Moreover, a war with the sacrificial evil god dynasty may break out at any time. Are we just going to let it go like this? The fat Emperor Realm Master, who was a descendant of a general, could not help but speak when he saw Qin Yu leave. Then what else do you want? Are we really going to hand over the immortal Qilin for a peak Emperor Realm Master? As for the sacrificial evil god dynasty, they took advantage of our weakness and forcibly came to the northern territory to occupy our territory. This shame can only be washed away by the destruction of the sacrificial evil god dynasty. A war between the two sides is just a matter of time. Now it's just ahead of schedule. Shi Tiangang said indifferently. The fat Emperor Realm Master wanted to say something, but he was stopped by the General Emperor Realm Master next to him. What Shi Tiangang said was indeed the truth. The 7-colored immortal Qilin could not be handed over, and their relationship with the sacrificial evil god dynasty could not be eased. Moreover, since Shi Tiangang had already made up his mind, it was useless for them to say anything more. No matter what, Shi Tiangang was still the leader of the heavenly imperial palace. Even if they were unwilling to accept Shi Tiangang's decision, they could only obey. Now that things have happened, what we need to do next is to prepare to deal with the situation. The sacrificial evil god dynasty released the news on such a large scale, so they will definitely take action. We can't give them an opportunity to take advantage of. As for the peak Emperor Realm Master, I will send the Shadow Guards to investigate. That's all, everyone, go and prepare. Shi Tiangang gave his orders in an orderly manner, and the descendants of the General Emperors obeyed and left. Tell me, what exactly is going on? Did Shenfeng really take the initiative to look for that peak Emperor Realm Master? After the descendants of the General Emperors left, Shi Tiangang looked at the three injured high-level Emperor Realm Masters. Although Qin Yu's many actions had been quite strange in his eyes. But no matter what, it was too bold to take the initiative to provoke a peak Emperor Realm Master. This was truly risking his life. Therefore, Qin Yu had to figure out what Qin Yu's intentions were. From Chen Feng's actions, he should know the strength of the other party. He even knew that the other party had set a trap for him. But we don't know the specific grievances between Chen Feng and that Emperor Realm Master. The only thing we can be sure of is that the Emperor Realm Master is from the dragon race. The three Emperor Realm Elders explained in detail how they had escorted Qin Yu to Evil Wind City. Dragon race? Shi Tiangang and Sun Yunlang looked at each other. Both of them were deep in thought. Qin Yu did have the secret technique of the Dragon Clan. Could it be? The goal of the Dragon Clan's sovereign doesn't seem to be the seven-colored celestial Qilin. He seems to be purely after Qin Yu. As for Qin Yu, his goal was the 8 desolate wind flame dragon's blood. Who knows, he might even have designs on the sovereign Dragon Clan. The three Emperor Realm Masters had now completely regained their senses. In the end, when he left, Qin Yu imprisoned the dragon blood. This allowed them to clearly deduce Qin Yu's intentions. Detain dragon blood? Shi Tiangang raised his eyebrows slightly as a strange light flickered in his eyes. I understand. Don't tell anyone about this. Go and treat your injuries first. After a long while, Shi Tiangang said to the three Emperor Realm Masters, Palace Master, could that Dragon Clan's sovereign have subdued the golden flame heaven-burning dragon for Qin Yu? After the three Emperor Realm Masters left, Sun Yunlang asked. Even among the descendants of the three emperors, few people knew that Qin Yu had subdued the golden flame heaven-burning dragon. Because this was related to the divination left behind by the three emperors' ancestors. Whether it is true or not, I'm afraid only Xin Feng knows. Shi Tiangang said. Then should we call Xin Feng over and ask him in detail? Sun Yunlang said. Forget it. After all, Xin Feng is different from Shi Yu Jing Tian and the others. He is still wary of us. It is impossible for him to tell us all his secrets. Shi Tiangang shook his head. Last time, they had already tested Qin Yu with their mind-bewitching technique. They had already figured out what they wanted to know. As for whether Qin Yu had any other secrets, it had little to do with them. Is there any progress on Jiuzhao's side? Shi Tiangang had temporarily put Qin Yu's matter to the back of his mind. Currently, the most important thing for Heavenly Imperial Palace was to find the 4 divine herbs. It had been so long, but they had only found the 7-colored celestial Qilin. This progress was a little slow. Now, the discord within Heavenly Imperial Palace was getting more and more intense. This time, even the General Emperor Realm Masters had personally intervened and gotten involved in the dispute. This was not a good sign for the descendants of the 3 emperors. Fortunately, there was an external enemy, the sacrificial evil god dynasty, ready to make a move. The descendants of the general emperors should not cause any trouble at this time. However, the situation of the descendants of the 3 emperors was getting more and more serious. Therefore, the refining of the immortal emperor pill was extremely urgent. Second brother has sent news that the 9 nether yellow spring water is going to be auctioned in the East Continent, so second brother has personally led people there. As for the ancient divine phoenix bone, big brother is in the process of divination. It is said that there is a faint sign of it. Only the immortal spirit grass has not been found yet, Sun Yunlang said. The 4 divine herbs for refining the immortal emperor pill were not easy to find. In the past, it would be difficult to find even one of them. Now, they had found one and had news of the other 2. Their luck could be considered good. However, Sun Yunlang and Shi Tiangang did not look happy at all. If it was a peaceful time, they would naturally have enough time to wait. But now, the situation of the entire heaven territory was not right. It felt like a storm was coming, and a great calamity was likely to come. If Heavenly Imperial Palace wanted to survive, refining the immortal Emperor pill became the most important thing. Let the subordinates investigate the immortal spirit grass. From today onwards, all Emperor Realm Masters, whether they are palace elders or guest elders, cannot leave the sacrificial evil god dynasty easily. We cannot let the sacrificial evil god dynasty take advantage of this loophole. Shi Tiangang thought for a while and said, "As for the guest elders, I will persuade them." Sun Yunlang was an emperor-grade artifact refiner, so many guest elders came because of his identity. Currently, in the Heavenly Imperial Palace, the descendants of the three emperors still had the initiative. Apart from Palace Master Shi Tiangang, the Emperor-grade artifact refiner Sun Yunlang and diviner Sun Guxing also had great influence. As long as one of them was missing, it would be difficult to suppress the descendants of the generals. Qin Yu, who returned from the temple, did not know that the internal conflict in Heavenly Imperial Palace was getting more and more intense. After he returned to the palace, he immediately took out the 8 desolate wind flame dragons' dragon blood source. For Qin Yu, the most important thing was to seize the time to improve his cultivation. He did not have the time to care about the internal strife in Heavenly Imperial Palace. Of course, with his strength, he could not do anything. Ancient Battle Dragon Art. Qin Yu and the Dragon Soul sat cross-legged in the Divine Dragon Ancient Seal. After the space-time divine ability revolved, the two immediately refined the dragon blood. Rumble. Immediately, a majestic and vast river like pure dragon energy immediately enveloped Qin Yu and the Dragon Soul. Their cultivations and auras skyrocketed too. Chapter 424. When Qin Yu was refining the dragon blood of the 8 desolate wind flame dragon. At the junction of the northern and southern regions of the spirit state, in a hidden valley, Aod was healing Aogyo. As Aod used the origin dragon chi to cast a secret technique to help. Aogyo, who was originally weak, saw the situation. The dim light in his dragon eyes also brightened a lot. However, the dragon body that was thousands of feet long did not change. Originally, with Aogyo's half-step divine grade cultivation, he could already transform into a human form. Advancing to the Emperor realm was just around the corner. However, this time, Qin Yu had taken away the origin dragon blood, causing his vitality to be greatly damaged, and he could no longer transform. Young master, what is the background of that kid? A method that can directly detain the origin dragon blood, even in our dragon clan, has never appeared before. Aogyo, who could not transform, had flames rolling like lava in his huge dragon eyes, and his killing intent was monstrous. However, in that killing intent, Aogyo's expression was also filled with strong surprise. Qin Yu's methods made him palpitate and his heart turn cold when he recalled them. A secret technique that can detain the origin dragon blood is not unprecedented in the history of the dragon clan. When the ancestor subdued the dragon clan and established the eternal dragon nation, he had created such a secret technique. All the dragons who resisted were imprisoned in the origin dragon clan. Speaking of the dragon clan, Aod's expression was quite ugly. Aogyo was loyal to him and was regarded as his right-hand man in the future. Now, the origin dragon blood was taken away and his future was bleak. Although this operation had indeed lured Qin Yu into taking the bait. But in the end, he lifted a stone and smashed his own foot. That kid, could it be that he has obtained the inheritance of the Dragon Emperor? Aogyo was shocked. Impossible. No one knows about the inheritance left by the ancestor except for me? Aod shook his head, but there was a strange look in his eyes. But what? Aogyo asked. That kid, in addition to the secret technique to detain the origin dragon blood, he also knows the dragon chi derivation technique. Aod's eyes slowly narrowed, and the strange look in his eyes became even more intense. Dragon chi derivation technique? What kind of secret technique is that? Aogyo was puzzled. This was the first time he had heard of this secret technique. That was the supreme dragon art created by the dragon god emperor, who was known as the strongest in the heaven domain. Aod said, "Dragon god emperor? Rumor has it that the dragon god emperor who can steal the divine powers of the dragons and make all the dragons in the heaven realm flee from the heaven realm?" Aojiu was shocked. It had been so long since the Dragon Emperor founded the Eternal Dragon Nation that many things had become mere rumors. However, the name of the dragon god venerable from 1,000 years ago was still as resounding as thunder. The dragons that had fled to the outer realm still did not dare to step into the heaven domain. It could be seen how traumatized that person was for the dragon clan. That's right. Aod nodded slightly. Since he wanted to recreate Eternal Dragon, he had no choice. Naturally, he had a detailed understanding of the Dragon God Emperor, who was crowned as the Dragon God. Only the Dragon God Sovereign had ever used the Dragon Chi derivation technique. He fused his blood, chi, and soul energy with the Dragon Chi to form a derivative body. It could take the form of an avatar, and it could also take the form of a true body. It was a top-notch avatar technique. More importantly, since the fall of the Dragon God Emperor 1,000 years ago. Since then, no one had ever used that secret technique again. Qin Yu actually knew how to, young master. Are you trying to say that the kid might have obtained the inheritance of the Dragon God Emperor? Aojiu's eyes immediately changed when he thought of this. If it was true, I hope I'm wrong. Before Aod finished his words, he seemed to have sensed something and suddenly looked at Aojiu. At this moment, Aojiu, who had revealed the true form of the 8 desolate wind flame dragon, suddenly froze. The dragon patterns on the dragon's scales quickly dimmed. My divine powers are disappearing. Aojiu's eyes, which had changed color, were now filled with fear. Aod's face also changed greatly. Aojiu's situation undoubtedly proved that his prediction had come true. Northern region of the spirit state, heavenly imperial palace, inside the dragon god ancient seal. Qin Yu formed a seal with both hands and crazily refined the dragon chi under the tenfold speed. His cultivation was already at the 3rd grade martial emperor realm, but he immediately broke through the barrier and officially stepped into the 4th grade martial emperor realm. The 8 desolate wind flame dragon's divine powers were also gradually seized by Qin Yu. 8 desolate soul extinguishing technique. The 8 desolate wind flame dragon awakened a wind attribute divine ability, abyss cold wind, which could freeze all souls in the world. It could be said that this was a divine ability that specifically targeted the soul. Different from Qin Yu's soul-devouring curse, the abyss cold wind could be used on a large scale. This had an excellent advantage in a group battle. A month's time quietly passed by while Qin Yu and the Dragon Soul were cultivating. During this time, no one from the heavenly imperial palace came to disturb Qin Yu. Sure, Tiangang and the others probably wanted Qin Yu to continue in seclusion like this, so as not to run out and cause trouble. In this month, the conflict between the evil sacrificial god dynasty and the heavenly imperial palace became more and more intense. At the border between the two forces, dozens of battles had already occurred, and hundreds of martial emperors had already fallen. However, the two sides did not stop, and even the conflict became more and more intense. It was only a matter of time before a battle between Emperor Realm Masters occurred. Spirit State, Southern Territory border, on a mountain peak. I haven't been here for a while, and the Heavenly Imperial Palace has already started a war with the evil sacrificial god dynasty. On the mountain peak there were two figures, one black and one white. They were the two ancient demon clans. Since they have started fighting among themselves, it seems that they no longer care about the alien race invasion. The muscular man in black had a ferocious look on his face, which was covered in a demonic curse. After all, it has been almost a year since the incident at the Holy Heaven Peak. During this time, they didn't find any traces of the invasion, so they naturally relaxed. The handsome man in white said, Now that they have relaxed, it's time for us to take action. The ferocious look on the muscular man in black's face became more intense. Since they want to fight, we might as well give them a hand. The smile on the handsome man in white's face became a little cold. 2 months passed. In these 2 months, the war between the heavenly imperial palace and the evil sacrificial god dynasty went as everyone expected. It had expanded to the point where Emperor Realm Masters participated in the war, and there were Emperor Realm Masters casualties. The more the two top forces fought, the more furious they became, as if they wanted to completely destroy each other. The northern territory was in turmoil for a time, and there were countless casualties. Even the situation of the entire spirit state was greatly affected. Heavenly Imperial Palace, inside the palace. Huff! In the space of the ancient dragon seal filled with dragon chi, Qin Yu exhaled a breath and slowly opened his eyes. A golden dragon shadow flashed in his eyes. 7th grade Martial Emperor Realm. Feeling the surge in his cultivation, Qin Yu's face revealed a domineering look. Only now did his former Emperor Realm Master demeanor gradually reveal itself. This time, the dragon blood of the 8 desolate wind flame dragon had not only allowed Qin Yu to break through 4 stages. The main dragon vein in his body had also transformed into a cyan-grade dragon vein. This had already reached the dragon vein grade of his previous life's Emperor Realm Master. Chapter 425. The number of dragon veins in Qin Yu's body had increased from 55 to 75. It was an increase of 20. Now, Qin Yu's aptitude had officially reached the level of an emperor body. Furthermore, it was an emperor body with 75 times cultivation speed. In the entire heaven domain, there were very few geniuses who could stand shoulder to shoulder with him. From this, one could see how powerful a half-divine dragon bloodline was. If he could obtain Aod's source dragon blood, Qin Yu might be able to break through to the Emperor Realm. In the future, I won't have to rely too much on the Heavenly Imperial Palace. With Qin Yu's current cultivation of rank 7 Martial Emperor, in addition to the 9 esoteric battle dragons, the divine abilities of the dragon race, and other means, even if he were to face an Emperor Realm Master, Qin Yu would still be able to put up a fight. Even if he couldn't win with Qin Yu's means, he was still confident in escaping. To Qin Yu, the shackles of his low cultivation were getting smaller and smaller. It was only a matter of time before he recovered his cultivation and killed his enemies. Ong! A dragon roar resounded. The dragon soul was refining its dragon chi. Cracking sounds could be heard from its body. It was as if its bones were undergoing metamorphosis. The pitch-black dragon marks on its scales were faintly changing. Its body had also grown several hundred feet in size. Its dragon might was even more vast and frightening. Rank 9 Martial Emperor. The dragon soul's cultivation was even stronger than Qin Yu's. After all, the dragon soul did not need to consolidate its foundation like Qin Yu did. It only needed to focus on increasing its cultivation. Previously, when it refined the purple thunder divine firmament dragon, the dragon soul had already reached rank 2 Martial Emperor. Now, it had broken through 7 ranks in a row. I wonder how the Heavenly Imperial Palace and the sacrificial evil god dynasty are doing? Calculating the time, it had already been more than 2 months since he entered seclusion. With the grievances between the sacrificial evil god dynasty and the Heavenly Imperial Palace, they might have already started fighting. To Qin Yu, this was a pretty good opportunity. Right now, he wanted to destroy the entire sacrificial evil god dynasty. Naturally, he couldn't do it. However, it was still possible to make the sacrificial evil god dynasty pay a price. With that thought, Qin Yu left the ancient dragon god's ancient seal. Of course, before leaving, Qin Yu had used a secret technique to conceal his cultivation. His cultivation was still that of a rank 3 Martial Emperor. The Martial Emperor realm was different from the Martial Ancestor realm. No matter where it was, this situation was not as simple as suspicion. Outside the Emperor Palace. Sure enough, the battle has begun. After leaving the palace, Qin Yu immediately sensed the unusual atmosphere in Sky Emperor Palace. In next to no time, Qin Yu found out about the current situation in the Northern Territory. Although the war between Heavenly Imperial Palace and the sacrificial evil god dynasty had already spread to the Emperor realm, it was still not enough. However, the two forces had yet to engage in a decisive battle. Therefore, the battle between martial emperors was still the main battlefield. The two great forces also had a tacit understanding that they would not intervene in the battle between Emperor Realm Masters and martial emperors. Therefore, the younger generation of martial emperors from the Heavenly Imperial Palace and the sacrificial evil god court would occasionally go there to fight. But when Qin Yu went to the sacred palace to find Shi Tiangang, he learned that Shi Tiangang had left the Sky Emperor Palace. No one knew when he would return. As a last resort, Qin Yu had to go to Sun Yunlang. Sun Yunlang naturally would not agree to Qin Yu's request. Now was the time when the two great forces were in turmoil. Therefore, Sun Yunlang sent Qin Yu away with the excuse that the palace master was out and could not make a decision. In order to prevent Qin Yu from running away, he also sent two Emperor Realm Masters to follow Qin Yu at all times. Qin Yu did not say much and returned to the palace where he lived. Of course, he did not plan to leave just like that. For the current Qin Yu, it was impossible for two Emperor Realm Masters to stop him. But just as Qin Yu set up a transmission array and was about to leave Sky Emperor Palace directly, suddenly, a loud noise came from the Northern Territory. The entire Northern Territory shook and countless cultivators were shocked. This fluctuation, Qin Yu froze and his figure flashed. He immediately rushed out of the palace and flew into the air. At this time, Sun Yunlang and the other Emperor Realm Masters had already appeared in the air in the Sky Emperor Palace. They were all looking in the direction of the eastern territory of the Spirit State. Although they did not know what they were thinking, there was an extremely terrifying and vast pressure in that direction. Even Sky Emperor Palace in the Northern Territory could clearly sense it. What happened? Such a big movement. Could it be that some kind of divine artifact has appeared? There is a very terrifying pressure, stronger than the Emperor Realm Masters. Sun Yunlang and the other Emperor Realm Masters carefully sensed and talked to each other. Ancient divine force? The dragon soul in the divine dragon ancient seal said with uncertainty. That majestic oppressive might that had swept over was exactly the same as the divine energy imprint that Qin Yu controlled. If it was really the ancient divine force, judging from such a big movement, could it be that an ancient god had come into being? It should be the ancient divine force. Qin Yu's eyes flashed with a bright light. He had refined the ancient divine force, so his perception was clearer than the dragon soul and Sun Yunlang. Let's go and take a look? The dragon soul was eager to try. Although Qin Yu's divine seal did not increase his combat strength, it was because the divine force was too little. If the ancient divine force reached the level of true qi, that was the power of the ancient divine force that could crush the divine demon qi. It was easy to imagine how terrifying the increase in combat strength would be. Of course I have to go. Qin Yu did not know if anyone in the Heaven Territory had a way to master the ancient divine force. But now he could completely control it, so he could not let go of such an opportunity. Prepare the teleportation array immediately. Sun Yunlang and the others also reacted, and one by one, the Emperor Realm Masters moved out and teleported to the Eastern Territory. This time, Sun Yunlang did not refuse Qin Yu's request and brought Qin Yu along. From the looks of it, it was most likely that an ancient ruin or an ancient inheritance had appeared. These two aspects were often limited by cultivation level, because most of the masters who left behind the ancient ruin hoped to find a successor for their inheritance. Therefore, the void space of the Fiend Demon Sea was not only limited by cultivation level, but also by bone age. In less than half an hour, Qin Yu, Sun Yunlang and the others arrived at the place where the ancient divine force fluctuation appeared. In the distance, in the middle of the sea where huge waves were surging, a huge divine rune light pillar that was a few hundred miles wide shot up into the sky and went straight into the cloud. In the divine rune light pillar, there was a vast and unparalleled ancient divine might that was earth-shattering. It is indeed the ancient divine force. In the void, Qin Yu saw the divine rune light pillar, and his eyes shone brightly. This seems to be the ancient divine force? Ancient divine force? It can't be, right? Isn't that something that only the ancient gods can cultivate? I have fought with the descendants of the gods of the divine land. There is no mistake, this is the ancient divine force. I have seen the ancient divine force cultivated by the descendants of the gods, but its power is far inferior to this divine rune light pillar. So, this is the ancient divine force that is more orthodox than the ancient divine force of the gods' descendants. The ancient gods' ruin, before the people of the heavenly imperial palace arrived, many forces had already gathered, and they were all engaged in heated discussions. If it weren't for the huge divine rune light pillar that was emitting a terrifying pressure, the people of the heavenly imperial palace would not have been here. The Emperor Realm Masters who gathered here would have rushed in long ago. At this moment, not only the spiritual state, but also the 9 states of the heaven domain, except for the divine land, each had a huge divine rune light pillar. For a moment, the entire heaven domain was shocked. Chapter 426. The entire heaven territory was shocked by the appearance of the ancient god relic. At this time, even the heavenly imperial palace and the sacrificial evil god dynasty stopped fighting. With such a great opportunity in front of them, they naturally wouldn't start a war. As time passed, more and more forces from the spiritual state gathered. Even the masters who were fighting in the extraterritorial battlefield returned after hearing the news. Buzz, buzz, buzz. At a certain moment, the divine seal in Qin Yu's palm suddenly trembled. Huh! Qin Yu instantly sensed it and looked at the divine rune light pillar. Immediately, a huge dark ancient cave appeared above the light pillar that Qin Yu was looking at. An ancient aura from the ancient desolate era swept out. It was as if one could return to the ancient desolate era after passing through the dark ancient cave. The appearance of the dark ancient cave caused a commotion among the countless forces that had gathered. Obviously, the ancient god relic was about to be accessible. This feeling? At this moment, Qin Yu's eyes flickered slightly as he felt the divine seal in his palm tremble. At this moment, the divine power imprint seemed to be resonating with the pillar of divine rune light. This surprised Qin Yu a little. Could it be that the ancient god relic is related to the divine seal? Swish! While Qin Yu was thinking, an Emperor Realm Master used a secret technique to summon a spirit beast into the dark ancient cave. The Emperor Realm Master closed his eyes slightly. He was connected to the spirit beast's consciousness, so he could sense the situation in the dark ancient cave. The other Emperor Realm Masters also used their own methods to sense it carefully. After a while, the Emperor Realm Master who was the latest to act suddenly opened his eyes, and his eyes flickered with joy. His figure flashed, and he immediately rushed into the dark ancient cave. The other Emperor Realm Masters who sensed it also took action. There are strong ancient divine force fluctuations inside, but there are no restrictions. Emperor Realm Masters can enter. Let's go. In the heavenly imperial palace, Sun Yunlang and the others also sensed it and moved together. However, Qin Yu was sent back to the heavenly imperial palace by a high-level Emperor Realm Master sent by Sun Yunlang. Since even Emperor Realm Masters could enter this ancient god ruin, it was a battlefield for Emperor Realm Masters. Qin Yu, a martial emperor, was like a sheep entering a pack of wolves. Even the slightest ripple could be fatal. On the way back, Qin Yu quietly left a teleportation mark. The Emperor Realm Master, who sent him back to the heavenly imperial palace, had just left. Qin Yu left the Sky Emperor Palace through the teleportation formation and returned to the eastern region. This time, a bronze mask appeared in Qin Yu's hands. After putting it on, Qin Yu's appearance and aura immediately became completely different. This was a spirit artifact that Qin Yu had specially refined. Unlike the appearance-changing technique, this mask could change Qin Yu's aura and cultivation level. In other words, even an Emperor Realm Master would not be able to see through his true cultivation unless he took the initiative to attack. Soon, Qin Yu arrived in front of the huge sea again. After half a quarter of an hour, when almost all of the Emperor Realm Masters present had left, Yang Kai suddenly spoke up. Qin Yu did not wait any longer. He flew into the sky and entered the dark ancient cave. After another 2 hours, the martial emperors who had gathered could not help but make their move. At this time, Qin Yu, who had entered the dark ancient cave, appeared on a wild land. The whole world was filled with a wild and ancient aura that could not be erased by time. Above the desolate land, there were ancient divine palaces floating in the air. Every divine palace was surrounded by an extremely strong ancient divine power. Qin Yu took a glance at it. Then, he flew toward a certain direction. After some time, Emperor Realm Masters had entered the divine palaces he saw along the way. There were even violent battles in some of the divine palaces. It contained the power of an Emperor Realm Master's Tao technique, as well as the power of an ancient divine force. It seemed that those divine palaces were not as simple as barriers. Qin Yu did not get involved in those Emperor Realm Masters battles. The direction he was flying in was the direction where the divine power ancient seal had been trembling. This ancient ruin seemed to be so big that it was boundless. Qin Yu flew at full speed for 14 hours. He did not know how many divine palaces he had passed, but he still could not see the end. However, the deeper he flew, the fewer Emperor Realm Masters he saw. Occasionally, there would be empty divine palaces that no one had entered. However, Qin Yu did not go to those divine arts. He knew that when the Emperor Realm Masters who had been fighting at the beginning came back to their senses, they would soon come to occupy these divine palaces. Therefore, Qin Yu was now rushing to the place where the divine power ancient seal was trembling. Qin Yu felt that there was something extremely important to the divine power ancient seal in that direction. After another 2 hours, Qin Yu appeared in front of a light gray-colored stone palace hall. Although the other divine palaces were extremely ancient, they exuded a vast divine power. At a glance, they were extremely extraordinary. However, this stone temple was out of place with the other divine palaces in this world. The stranger it was, the more extraordinary it was. In the ancient ruins and ancient mystery realms, the oddities were basically the same as the opportunities. Qin Yu landed. The azure dragon battling the heavens in his body was restless. The dragon's soul also appeared beside Qin Yu. The two of them were quite alert as they walked towards the stone temple. The closer they got, the more intense the trembling of the divine power ancient seal became. When they arrived in front of the stone temple, the divine power ancient seal left Qin Yu's palm and attached itself to the divine power barrier outside the stone temple. Wung. As the divine power ancient runes spread out, the divine power ancient runes appeared on the barrier outside the stone temple. Visible ancient divine power was drawn out by the divine power ancient seal and was immediately devoured. In less than a few breaths, the ancient divine power in the barrier was completely devoured. Boom! The moment the divine power barrier dissipated, a wave of divine power as vast as the ocean rushed out of the stone palace, shattering the ancient door of the stone palace. The entire boundless ancient ruins shook slightly at this moment. Countless Emperor Realm Masters were alarmed. Qin Yu's face changed slightly. The divine power pressure was so strong that it made his heart palpitate. Immortal Stone Emperor Seal. Qin Yu immediately used the azure dragon battling the heavens and his cultivation reached the peak of the martial Emperor realm. The immortal Stone Emperor seal descended and protected Qin Yu and the Dragon Soul. Space-time divine ability. The Dragon Soul reacted quickly and formed a seal with both hands. The space around them was immediately filled with a terrifying power of time and space, separating the pressure of the divine power that seemed to have materialized. Qin Yu withdrew the divine power ancient seal. Runes spread out from his left hand and the divine spear in his right hand. Dragon Qi surrounded his body as he strode into the stone temple. In the stone temple, there was an ancient statue that was 1,000 feet tall. The divine runes on the statue shone brightly. The statue was not a human but an ancient heavenly rock with its wings spread out. It seemed to be about to soar into the sky. The ancient heavenly rock statue was lifelike. After Qin Yu entered, he felt a chill run down his spine. The ancient heavenly rock statue seemed to be looking at him. This is a god totem? Qin Yu raised his eyebrows and carefully sensed the ancient heavenly rock statue. Chapter 427. In ancient times, all living beings believed in the gods. Therefore, faith gathered into totems, and totems derived divine power. But the ancient gods were not limited to the human race. In that era when all living beings were in chaos, all kinds of gods emerged one after another. Therefore, in order to compete for faith, the gods fought, mountains and rivers shattered, and living beings were plunged into misery and suffering. This also sowed the seeds of disaster for the passing of the era of divine power. After all, people believed in the gods because they wanted good weather and peace. When the gods could not protect them due to the chaos and even affected them, more and more people walked the path of strengthening themselves. When this situation became the general trend, the passing of the era of divine power could not be stopped, and the era of true essence arrived. This ancient heavenly Pung statue was a god totem. The ancient heavenly Pung was a descendant of the immortal beast Koan Pung, and its bloodline was extremely powerful, comparable to ancient beings. Chirp. Vaguely, there was a violent chirp. Immediately after, divine power emerged from the heavenly Pung statue like a vast ocean. In the ancient palace, it turned into a lifelike ancient heavenly Pung. Those majestic and indifferent eyes stared closely at Qin Yu. Like a hunter staring at its prey, it was filled with a dangerous intent to invade. This ancient heavenly Pung was not an inanimate object, it had intelligence. Be careful, its strength is definitely at the level of an emperor. Seeing this, Qin Yu's dragon chi surged, and the array patterns on his palm became more and more powerful. This ancient heavenly Pung totem had not condensed the power of faith for who knew how many years. But now, there was still a trace of spirituality that had not dissipated. The strength of the divine power was evident. The dragon soul formed a seal with both hands, and pitch-black dragon scales appeared on its body, surrounded by the power of space and time. Whoosh! Suddenly, it was like a tornado. Qin Yu and the dragon soul only felt their vision blur. The ancient heavenly Pung had already rushed in front of them with vast divine power. Its sharp and cold claws slashed out, as if two houses were pressing down, as if to crush the souls of the two. With a loud bang, Qin Yu and the dragon soul were sent flying, and the aura on their bodies was chaotic. The strength of this ancient heavenly Pung was above Qin Yu's expectations, comparable to a high-level emperor. However, Qin Yu and the dragon soul did not suffer any major injuries. Instead, it was the primordial heavenly rock's claw that seemed to have been bitten by something as a huge hole appeared. This is, Qin Yu opened his right hand in surprise. The divine power imprint on his palm had multiplied by several times. This divine power ancient seal can devour the ancient heavenly rock's divine power. The dragon soul also looked at Qin Yu's right palm. Just now, the god power ancient seal in Qin Yu's palm had a halo of god power that blocked the primordial heavenly Peng's huge claw. If it wasn't for the ancient divine seal, Qin Yu and Li Chia wouldn't have been able to escape unscathed. However, what the dragon's soul was concerned about was that the divine power ancient seal had not only blocked the primordial heavenly rock's attack, but it had also blocked the primordial heavenly rock's attack. In that instant, it devoured a large amount of divine power from the enormous claw. The strength of their divine power was on a completely different level. Qin Yu was also quite surprised. He didn't know what kind of god this divine power ancient seal was. Previously, it could suppress the primordial demonic god's power, but now it could even suppress the primordial heavenly rock's divine power. Could it be that there was a difference in strength between the gods of the ancient era? Xiao. At this moment, the ruthless primordial heavenly rock swept up surging baleful aura and charged towards Qin Yu again. One. Qin Yu reacted quickly this time. His extreme speed flickered as he dodged the primordial heavenly rock. As he dodged, Qin Yu thrust his palm forward. Ancient runes spread out in the ancient palace. Qin Yu laid out the runes with his left hand while his right hand moved. Divine abilities, secret techniques, and killing moves shot towards the primordial heavenly rock one after another. Every time he attacked, the divine power imprint would devour a large amount of divine power from the primordial heavenly rock. The might of the divine power imprint grew stronger and stronger, while the might of the primordial heavenly rock grew weaker. Reversal of time and space. The dragon's soul didn't look at it and charged forward. As its cultivation reached rank 9 martial emperor, the dragon's soul's control over time and space had become even more terrifying. Spatial cracks appeared in the stone palace, helping Qin Yu dodge the primordial heavenly rock's attack. With the two of them working together in less than 10 breaths of time, the primordial heavenly rock's divine power was weakened by more than 10%. What the divine power imprint devoured wasn't ordinary divine power, but the primordial heavenly rock's origin divinity. Sealing divine light, space-time seal. The battle lasted for less than 15 minutes. After Qin Yu was attacked several times and his injuries weren't light, the killing formation he laid out was finally completed. Immediately, Qin Yu joined hands with the dragon's soul. Xiao. Mysterious rune light chains appeared in the void around the stone hall, completely sealing and suppressing the primordial heavenly pung. One. Qin Yu slapped his palm on the primordial heavenly rock. The divine power imprint violently trembled and turned into a vortex of divine power. The vortex spun frantically and a terrifying devouring power burst forth. Xiao. With a deafening shriek, the primordial heavenly rock was completely devoured by the vortex of divine power. Even the divine power in the entire stone palace surged into the divine power imprint. Gotcha! Cracks appeared on the primordial heavenly rock statue and it exploded with a loud bang. Qin Yu's body shook violently when the divine power imprint devoured the vortex of divine power. The primordial heavenly rock's divine power was so vast that Qin Yu felt it was difficult to control. Let's go. Qin Yu didn't stay any longer and immediately withdrew his aura with the dragon's soul and left. Because of the pressure emitted by the primordial heavenly rock, Qin Yu faintly felt several auras approaching. Judging from the strength of those auras, they were definitely Emperor Realm Masters. Qin Yu had just fought with the primordial heavenly rock and his injuries weren't light. At this time, he didn't want to fight with an Emperor Realm Master again. Moreover, this primordial heavenly rock wasn't completely subdued. Half an incense stick's worth of time after Qin Yu left, a figure flew over. If Qin Yu was here, he would definitely recognize that this person was AOD. He ran away? AOD glanced at the stone palace and flew into the sky, carefully using a secret technique to sense. In a certain barren mountain in the god ruins, Qin Yu sat cross-legged with an illusion array around him. Strong divine power fluctuations were constantly emitted from Qin Yu's body. In the divine power imprint on Qin Yu's palm, a great battle was still taking place. The primordial heavenly rock's divine power was devoured by the divine power imprint. However, the primordial heavenly rock's spirituality wasn't subdued. Therefore, Qin Yu was now working together with the dragon soul to suppress the primordial heavenly rock's spirituality. The primordial heavenly rock's divine power was stronger than that of an ordinary Emperor Realm Master. However, in the current soul battle, he was suppressed by Qin Yu and the dragon soul to the point that he was unable to raise his head. After more than 2 hours of suppression, the primordial heavenly rock's spirituality was finally subdued. Let's test the might of the primordial god. Qin Yu's soul returned to his body from the primordial heavenly rock's divine power. His eyes were filled with eagerness. Appear. Qin Yu formed hand seals with his hand. The divine power imprint trembled slightly and a vast amount of divine power burst out. Behind Qin Yu, it turned into a 100-foot-tall primordial heavenly rock. Grade 8 Martial Emperor. Grade 9 Martial Emperor. Peak Martial Emperor. Chapter 428. Boom. Qin Yu's aura skyrocketed, directly breaking through the limit of the Martial Emperor realm and entering the Emperor realm. Although the world principles had not yet become Tao arts, the ancient heavenly Pring divine power was no weaker than Tao art. Therefore, even if Qin Yu did not use the Azure Dragon battle the heavens, he could still match it. No, with his current strength, Qin Yu was completely confident that he could kill an Emperor Realm Master. As expected of the ancient divine power, the dragon's soul exclaimed from the bottom of its heart. Although it knew that the ancient divine power was very strong, it still did not expect it. When the number of ancient divine power increased, the power of the ancient divine power would increase tremendously. Of course, the increase in ancient divine power was indeed very strong, but breaking through to the Emperor realm had also reached its limit. Now I can finally go all out. Qin Yu's face was full of smiles, and his domineering aura was even stronger. One had to know that he had not used the Azure Dragon battle the heavens yet. Is his divine power being consumed? But then, the dragon soul's expression changed slightly. After condensing the ancient heavenly Pung, Qin Yu's divine power was being consumed at a very weak speed. Although that sort of flowing speed was not worth mentioning to Qin Yu, who controlled his facial expression. But if the ancient heavenly Pung was constantly being consumed, wouldn't it be even faster during a battle? It seems that I can only plunder the divine power of the other divine palaces. Qin Yu pondered for a moment. The situation was just as the dragon soul had predicted. The ancient heavenly Pring divine power was constantly being consumed. The more frequently it was used, the faster it would be consumed. In other words, the ancient divine power was a kind of consumable. If he wanted to have enough ancient divine power, he would have to plunder a large amount of it. Anyway, the ancient divine power seal was big enough to accommodate a large amount of ancient divine power. After thinking about it, Qin Yu flew out of the mountain range and immediately flew in a certain direction. In less than half a quarter of an hour, Qin Yu arrived at a temple. At this time, even the divine palaces in the depths of the ruins were already filled with countless cultivators. The fights and battles in this area were even more tragic than the divine palaces at the entrance of the ancient ruins. There were many casualties among the martial emperors and emperors. Worshipping the evil god dynasty? Just as Qin Yu was trying to figure out which divine palace's divine power to fight for, a voice suddenly rang out. 3 figures appeared in Qin Yu's line of sight. The 3 people were none other than the sacrificial evil god dynasty. There was a strong fluctuation of divine power coming from the 3 of them. They must have just snatched the primordial divine power. Now, they were eyeing the divine power of another divine palace. A late-stage 2nd-grade emperor, a mid-stage 3rd-grade emperor, and a peak 3rd-grade emperor. A cold smile appeared on Qin Yu's face. Facing a 2nd-grade or 3rd-grade Emperor Realm Master wasn't a problem for him right now. Immediately, Qin Yu quietly approached. Ever since he killed Kong Yaowu in the fiendish demon sea's void space, after learning that the sacrificial evil god dynasty's god emperor had disappeared. Qin Yu had always wanted to find the people from the sacrificial evil god dynasty to investigate thoroughly. However, he had been busy with the spiritual state battle ranking list and the heaven ranking list of the 9 states, so he didn't have the chance to do so. Now that he had encountered one, he could directly capture the Emperor Realm Master of the sacrificial evil god dynasty. This divine palace belongs to our sacrificial evil god dynasty. The 3 emperors of the sacrificial evil god dynasty barged into a divine palace and spoke rudely. Sacrificial evil god dynasty? The 2 emperors who were fighting couldn't help but stop. We found this divine palace first. Are the 3 of you going to snatch it by force? Of the 2 emperors, one was a 3rd-grade Emperor Realm Master with a huge saber in his hand. He had a fierce face and a ferocious aura. Judging from his clothes and logos, his background wasn't small. He was from the Spirit State's 10 super forces, Saint Yuan sect. Next to the Saber Emperor Realm Master was a burly man who was more than 10 feet tall. His skin was covered with spirit tattoos, and his aura was like a rainbow that soared into the sky. Although he was only a peak 2nd-grade Emperor Realm Master, the combat power he had displayed before was enough to fight against a 3rd-grade Emperor Realm Master. He was also from one of the 10 super forces, Great Spirit Palace. World spirit treasures have always belonged to the capable. Although you found it, you haven't obtained it yet. How is it that we are snatching it by force? Speaking of which, aren't the 2 of you snatching it from each other? The leader of the 3 from the sacrificial evil god dynasty was a black-clothed man. He was in his prime, and his aura was as vast as the sea, unfathomable. Although he spoke with a smile, there was no warmth in his gloomy eyes. The orthodoxy of the sacrificial evil god dynasty was the Tao of sacrificial spirits, which was gloomy and evil. The evil spirits of the sacrificial evil god dynasty were evil beings that were born from the blood, and souls of countless living beings. Later, the evil spirits gained sentience, comprehended the Tao, and passed down the Tao of sacrificial spirits. That was how the sacrificial evil god dynasty was born. Although it had gone through ups and downs several times, the orthodoxy of the evil spirits had not been cut off. Until now, the sacrificial evil god dynasty was one of the top 7 forces in the spirit state. Of course, in terms of scale, the current sacrificial evil god dynasty was still inferior to the overlord of the East Continent 1,000 years ago. In the past 1,000 years, the sacrificial evil god dynasty had been gradually going downhill. Since you want to snatch it, let's see if you have the ability to do so. The Saber Emperor Realm Master from the Saint Yuan sect had a cold look in his eyes as he slashed out a saber ray that tore through the void. His target was not the people of the sacrificial evil god dynasty, but the 3-meter-tall divine pillar at the center of the divine palace. Crack! The barrier around the divine pillar was shattered, and the entire stone pillar exploded. A terrifying divine power burst out from the divine master and turned into a phantom that was dozens of meters tall. Although the appearance of the phantom was unclear, it seemed to have a human body and a beast's head. Obviously, it was the divine power left behind by a god of a foreign race. No spirituality? Qin Yu, who had sneaked into the divine palace through the barrier using the sky evasion technique, had a glint in his eyes. The phantom with a human body and a beast's head did not retain its spirituality like the ancient heavenly Purng that he had suppressed. After the phantom formed, it immediately pounced out as if it only knew how to kill. The Saber Emperor Realm Master from the Saint Yuan sect and the sturdy Emperor Realm Master from the Great Spirit Palace did not hesitate. They rushed toward the 3 people of the sacrificial evil god dynasty and lured the phantom toward them. Junior brother Chun Qing, go and suppress the phantom. Elder Song Han, we will deal with them. The sturdy Emperor Realm Master from the sacrificial evil god dynasty sneered and immediately rushed out. The venerable sovereigns called Chen Qing and Song Han rushed out with violent Taoist powers. Rumble! An earth-shattering battle broke out in the divine palace. If it were not for the ancient god's seal, the entire divine palace would have collapsed in an instant. As soon as the two sides met, the three emperors of the sacrificial evil god dynasty had the absolute upper hand. After all, the three emperors of the sacrificial evil god dynasty were stronger than the emperors of the Saint Yuan sect and the Great Spirit Palace. If it were not for the phantom holding back one of the emperors of the sacrificial evil god dynasty, the two of them would have been defeated long ago. However, although they were suppressed, they were still in a one-on-one situation. The emperors of the Saint Yuan sect and the Great Spirit Palace did not show any signs of defeat. They seemed to have the intention of not letting the sacrificial evil god dynasty succeed, even if they could not obtain it. When the Emperor Realm Master named Chen Qing suppressed the God Phantom, he would occasionally use his killing moves to interfere with it. Chapter 429. The three emperors of the sacrificial evil god dynasty were furious, but there was nothing they could do. Although they had the upper hand, they could not kill the two emperors, and even defeat them would be difficult. They could only go all out and increase their suppression so that they could not interfere. In this chaotic battle, the five emperors and the god's phantom did not notice. There was a figure lurking in the dark. Qin Yu was known as the strongest emperor in his previous life, and now his combat strength had reached the emperor realm. With his means, it was not difficult for him to hide from a few second-grade and third-grade emperors. It's almost time. After a quarter of an hour, when the god's phantom was about to be suppressed by Chen Qing of the sacrificial evil god dynasty. A cold light flashed in Qin Yu's eyes, and he suddenly rushed out like lightning. Martial Emperor Realm? Chen Qing, who was using sealing techniques to suppress the god's phantom, immediately sensed it. He was originally frightened, but when he sensed the fluctuation of the martial Emperor Realm, he sneered. He slapped his palm toward Qin Yu, and the power of his Tao swept out like a flood. How dare a martial emperor sneak attack him? He was digging his own grave. Oh no! However, the black-clothed emperor's face suddenly changed, and he immediately shouted, "Bang!" A dazzling divine light tore through Chen Qing's Tao art and directly pierced his hand. If Chen Qing had not abandoned his right hand at the last moment and dodged in time with a secret technique, his head would have been pierced. Chi. The moment Chen Qing dodged, Qin Yu flashed and rushed to the god's phantom that was about to be sealed. Qin Yu opened his right hand and slapped the god's phantom. A vortex of divine power appeared and swallowed the god's phantom in an instant. Ancient divine power? Could it be? This sudden turn of events caused the great battle in the sacred palace to stop immediately. They were all shocked. They did not expect that someone had been lurking in the dark all this time without them noticing. The three emperors of the sacrificial evil god dynasty were even more murderous. They were about to succeed in sealing the god's phantom. Who would have thought that the cooked duck would be snatched away from his mouth? More importantly, Qin Yu was emitting a vast and terrifying primordial divine power. Although there were many forces in the Qinyun realm studying the primordial divine power in secret, the Qinyun realm didn't have the ability to do so. However, only the descendants of the gods of the divine prefecture could truly control the ancient divine power. Could it be that the news had reached the divine land so quickly? Refine. Qin Yu ignored the five sovereigns, who looked as if they were facing a great enemy. In the instant that he devoured the god's phantom, Qin Yu had a thought. The ancient heavenly Pring appeared from the divine power ancient seal and pounced forward with a tyrannical aura. The god's shadow was instantly torn apart by the primordial heavenly Pring and then devoured. Qin Yu's divine power ancient seal could restrain the primordial heavenly Pung. And now, the primordial heavenly rock had directly crushed the god's phantom. It seemed like there was a clear difference in strength between the ancient divine powers. "Who are you, Your Excellency?" The black-clothed emperor of the sacrificial evil god dynasty stared at Qin Yu with a sinister look as he tried to test Qin Yu. As they spoke, the three of them locked their gazes on Qin Yu. They were from the sacrificial evil god dynasty. How could they suffer such a loss? Not even the descendants of the gods. This was the spiritual state, not the divine land. The forbidden techniques of the descendants of the gods could only be used in the divine land. Naturally, they had nothing to fear. "Hand over the primordial divine power and I'll leave your corpses intact." Qin Yu looked at the three sovereigns of the sacrificial evil god dynasty, and said indifferently, "Does this person have a grudge against the sacrificial evil god dynasty?" The sovereigns of the Saint Origins sect and the Great Spirit Palace looked at each other and quietly retreated. For Qin Yu to speak with such a tone, it was clear that he was targeting the sacrificial evil godly dynasty. Not to mention the sacrificial evil god dynasty, even the sovereigns of ordinary forces would not be able to resist leaving their corpses intact. "Since you want to die, I'll fulfill your wish." Sure enough, the three sovereigns of the sacrificial evil god dynasty were enraged. With monstrous killing intent, they directly attacked Qin Yu together. 3 against 1, and with all their strength they swore to kill Qin Yu. Qin Yu's eyes were indifferent, but a tyrannical smile appeared on his face. His road to revenge officially began here. Whoosh, whoosh. Divine power surged. Divine light flickered on Qin Yu's body, and 2 incarnations appeared, forming a 3-on-3 situation. Evil spirit soul severing technique. Die. The black-clothed sovereign glanced coldly and frowned slightly. He did not see through Qin Yu's incarnation. However, he did not stop attacking. His hands suddenly changed into seals. A frightening killing ability was unleashed. It was violently attacked toward Qin Yu, who was attacking him. Absolute demon kill. The sovereign named Song Han slashed with the ancient sword in his hand. An evil, bone-chilling, pitch-black sword light slashed toward Qin Yu at lightning speed. Ghost weep evil curse. Chen Qing, whose right hand had been regenerated, but his face was somewhat pale. His killing intent was even stronger. His entire body was covered with eerie, evil curses. Like an ancient ferocious beast, he attacked with a destructive Tao. Die. The ones charging toward the black-clothed sovereign and Song Han were all incarnations, but Chen Qing was facing Qin Yu. Qin Yu suddenly punched out, and vast divine power swept out like a huge wave. In that vast divine power, there was also the power of destruction and slaughter. Under this punch, Chen Qing's divine power secret technique was directly shattered. He's here. Chen Qing had suffered serious injuries before, so he naturally had no chance of winning against Qin Yu now. Chen Qing also knew this, so after confirming Qin Yu's identity, he immediately shouted and retreated. The black-clothed sovereign and Song Han hurriedly pushed back the incarnations that were entangling them and turned into 2 streaks of light that rushed out. Secret technique. Chaotic starry sky reversal. Qin Yu shouted in a low voice. A stream of stellar chaotic energy appeared. It was the chaos great Tao combined with the heavenly stellar divine light. The black-clothed sovereign and Song Han immediately felt everything in front of them become chaotic. It made them feel as if they were in a boundless starry sky and were facing a huge resistance. Chen Qing, who was retreating, felt as if he had fallen into a muddy swamp. Before he could react, Qin Yu turned into a streak of divine light and appeared in front of him. Flesh sacrifice. Evil spirit protection. Chen Qing's face suddenly changed, and without thinking, he used his trump card. The eerie, evil curse on his body crazily devoured his flesh and blood, turning him into a bag of bones, like a skeleton. After devouring his flesh and blood, the eerie, evil curse floated out of his body and turned into an evil spirit shadow to protect him. All of this took a long time to describe, but it happened in an instant. It's been thousands of years, but you're still using these old tricks. No wonder you're going downhill. Qin Yu's lips curled into a cold smile. He did not use any simple tricks, just pointed his finger. Evil destroying finger. With a bang, the evil spirit shadow was as brittle as glass and was directly broken by the divine power finger. Then, under Chen Qing's eyes that were about to pop out of his sockets, the divine power finger immediately pierced through his forehead. Seal. Chen Qing was straightforward. At the moment of life and death, he immediately released his sovereign soul and wanted to escape. Unfortunately, his opponent was Qin Yu. Chen Qing's method of dealing with it had long been within Qin Yu's expectations. Almost as soon as his sovereign soul left his body, Qin Yu had already made his move. A wisp of needle-like divine power pierced through his sovereign soul and restrained it. Chapter 430. How is this possible? In an instant, Chen Qing was killed. The black-robed emperor and Song Han, who had just broken free from the chaotic starry sky, were horrified. What terrifying strength! Where did this person come from? The war-saber emperor of Saint Yuan sect and the burly emperor of Great Spirit Palace were also shocked. Chen Qing was only a second-grade emperor realm master. But he had been killed so cleanly, and even his emperor's soul had not been able to escape. Such methods were simply too terrifying. Even they could not do it. After all, which emperor realm master did not have a few life-saving means? It was possible to defeat them, but to kill them, there had to be a huge gap in strength. In fact, the evil spirit protection that Chen Qing used at the end was also a life-saving secret technique in their opinion. At the very least, if they wanted to break it, they would not be able to do it like Qin Yu, who destroyed it with a single move. It was because of this that they were terrified. Now it's your turn. After putting away Chen Qing's body and emperor soul, Qin Yu turned around indifferently. The black-robed emperor and Song Han's faces changed slightly as they felt a huge pressure. The evil spirit protection was destroyed instantly. What secret technique is that? Song Han asked with a solemn face as he held the ancient sword in his right hand, surrounded by sharp and destructive sword qi. I have never seen such a secret technique before. It seems to be able to restrain the evil spirit protection. The black-robed emperor's eyes were also quite solemn. Qin Yu's ability to control the ancient divine force had already exceeded his expectations. Now that he could destroy the evil spirit protection with a single finger, he was even more shocked and felt a faint sense of death. The black-robed emperor was right. Qin Yu's evil vanquishing finger was indeed created specifically to deal with Emperor Ji Xie. In Qin Yu's previous life, he already possessed a deep grudge against God Emperor Ji Xie. Because Emperor Ji Xie's evil spirit protection was quite troublesome, he created this technique to deal with Emperor Ji Xie. The only time he had used it was in the Immortal God Graveyard, where he had severely injured Emperor Ji Xie. Shua shua. At the moment when they were communicating via voice transmission, Qin Yu was forming hand seals with his hands. An incarnation was condensed and charged forward. With the ancient sword in hand, Song Han charged out like a beam of sword light. A long pitch-black crack was torn in the void, and a sharp and piercing sword intent swept through the void. Ancient Evil Spirit Seal. An ancient talisman appeared in the black-clad sovereign's hand. The ancient talisman burned, and an evil spirit phantom condensed. The illusory evil spirit he formed was far superior to the illusory evil spirit that Chen Qing had formed earlier. Even the face of the evil spirit was faintly revealed. Exuding an extremely terrifying pressure, it was infinitely close to the fourth-grade Emperor realm. Rumble! The two sides clashed in an instant. Qin Yu's attacks were still incomparably ferocious. He punched out, and vast divine power exploded. Song Han's body trembled violently as a trace of blood flowed out from the corner of his mouth. Even the sword runes on the Emperor-grade ancient sword were covered in crack. However, Song Han did not lose. Countless evil runes appeared on his body. Each of the evil runes trembled and neutralized the terrifying power of the ancient god power. Whoosh! At this moment, a figure flashed through the air. A destructive pressure descended as the illusory evil spirit phantom around the black-clad sovereign punched out. With this punch, a vacuum area appeared where Qin Yu was standing. It was an air pressure explosion, and there was nowhere for him to hide. With a bang, Qin Yu was immediately smashed to pieces by the illusory evil spirit phantom. How is this possible? However, the black-clad sovereign and Song Han did not show the slightest joy. In fact, their expressions changed drastically. Because Qin Yu, who had been smashed to pieces by the illusory evil spirit phantom, had actually turned into wisps of air and dissipated. It was a clone. Boom. At this moment, Qin Yu, who had been regarded as a clone by the black-clad sovereign, was as fast as a beam of light. In a flash, he appeared in front of Song Han and punched him fiercely. Faintly, there was the sound of thunder exploding. The next moment, Song Han's body shook violently as a bloody hole burst open in his body. Blood and flesh splattered everywhere. Through the bloody hole, purple lightning could be faintly seen rolling. Song Han's fierce eyes lost their luster. Even his sovereign spirit did not have the time to leave his body. Obviously, he did not have time to react to Qin Yu's attack. What's going on? That was clearly a clone. The black-clad sovereign's expression changed completely. He could not believe it. Qin Yu's methods were so strange that he did not even want to fight anymore. After sealing Song Han's body and sovereign spirit, Qin Yu calmly turned around. What he had just used was the Dragon Aura derivation technique. Even someone as strong as AOD could not see through this secret technique, let alone the black-clad sovereign. After turning around, Qin Yu looked at the sovereign of Saint Origin Sect and the sovereign of Great Spirit Palace, who were shocked. Qin Yu's gaze could not be considered to be very frightening. However, the two sovereigns shuddered the moment Qin Yu's gaze landed on them. They did not dare to stay any longer and immediately rushed out of the divine palace. First, it was a second-grade sovereign. Now, even a third-grade sovereign had been easily killed by Qin Yu. If they were to continue to stay here, then perhaps they would be killed by Qin Yu. The black-clad sovereign of the sacrificial evil court also wanted to escape immediately. Unfortunately, Qin Yu had firmly locked onto him. If he tried to escape, needless to say, he would definitely be fatally attacked. Who the hell are you? The black-clad sovereign stared at Qin Yu gloomily. Judging from Qin Yu's actions, Qin Yu definitely had a grudge against the sacrificial evil court. I'm afraid that I'll scare you if I tell you who I am. It's better if you don't know. Qin Yu walked toward the black-clad sovereign. Then die. The black-clad sovereign's face twitched. He roared and spat out a mouthful of blood essence, which merged with the evil spirit phantom. The evil spirit phantom became more and more solid, as if it had a real body. Boom. Boom. On that demonic shadow's body were countless ancient demonic runes. Like 10,000 arrows, they shot toward Qin Yu from all directions. Obviously, the black-clad sovereign, who realized that he was in danger, sacrificed his own flesh and blood to increase the power of the evil spirit phantom. Whoosh! At this moment, a pitch-black light radiated from Qin Yu's body and instantly covered the entire divine palace. It was the Nine Hells Purgatory, the secret technique of the Dragon Clan. The black-clad sovereign was shocked when his vision and senses were taken away. He immediately used the secret technique. Rip! But it was too late. The sound of space being torn apart could be heard. A spatial crack appeared vertically on the black-clad sovereign's body. The black-clad sovereign was split into two on the spot, his flesh and blood scattering into the air. The Dragon Soul's new superpower, the space-splitting technique, combined with the Nine Hells Purgatory, was a perfect match. Qin Yu withdrew the 9 hells purgatory and walked to the black-clad sovereign's sealed sovereign soul to devour the ancient divine power he had taken from him. Then, he put away the sovereign body and sovereign soul. After killing 3 Emperor Realm Masters this time, the Skeleton Ghost King's cultivation would definitely improve tremendously. This aura, just as Qin Yu was about to leave and find a place to search and refine the sovereign's soul, he raised his eyebrows slightly. Chapter 431. Whoosh. Just as Qin Yu sensed something, a figure appeared at the entrance of the divine palace. The figure that appeared was none other than Aod. Not only did you see through my illusion, but you also chased me all the way here. You're really persistent. The dragon's soul was puzzled. The mask that Qin Yu made could change his appearance and aura. It should be related to the 8 desolate wind flame dragon. Qin Yu pondered. This was the only way Aod could recognize him and track him down. A rank 7 martial emperor killing 3 sovereigns. If this were to spread, the entire 9 provinces of the heaven domain would be shocked. Aod looked at Qin Yu with a strange look in his eyes. Obviously, Aod had witnessed how Qin Yu killed the 3 sovereigns of the sacrificial evil god dynasty. Qin Yu was surprised to hear that, but more than that, he was astonished. That's right, astonished. Not only did Aod fail to bait him, but he even lost the 8 desolate wind flame dragons' origin dragon blood. Logically speaking, Aod should have killed him as soon as possible. But now, Qin Yu did not sense any killing intent from Aod. Aod looked at him as if he had discovered a big secret. I didn't believe it at first, but after the battle just now, I'm sure. You? Aod stared at Qin Yu and said word by word, "Are you the Dragon God Emperor?" This guy. The dragon's soul was shocked. Killing intent burst out of its body. This was Qin Yu's biggest secret at the moment. If this news were to spread, Qin Yu would be doomed eternally. If you think I'm the Dragon God Emperor, then I'm the Dragon God Emperor. Qin Yu was also greatly alarmed. However, his expression did not change in the slightest as he lightly laughed. He did not know how Aod could detect his identity. But from Aod's tone, it was obvious that he was doubtful. Obviously, Aod found it hard to believe that he was the Dragon God Emperor. If he admitted it now, it would only confuse Aod. As expected, Aod frowned when he heard Qin Yu's words. He didn't know if Qin Yu was deliberately saying this because he was in this situation, or if it was really the reincarnation of the Dragon God. "You came to me just to talk about this?" Qin Yu asked before Aod could speak. "No, other than that, I have other matters to discuss with you." Aod stared closely at Qin Yu, as if trying to figure out something from Qin Yu's expression. "What? You still want to scheme against me?" Qin Yu chuckled. "Do you think that under such circumstances, I still need to scheme to deal with you?" Aod had regained the aura of a top sovereign master, and his voice was filled with unquestionable dominance. Although Qin Yu had the battle prowess to kill a 3rd-grade sovereign, Qin Yu was still a 3rd-grade sovereign. However, this level of strength was nothing in front of Aod. Now that the sovereign masters of the Sky Emperor Palace were not around, Qin Yu was already a turtle in a jar. That's not necessarily true. If you're too confident, you might fall again. The smile on Qin Yu's face deepened, and he didn't seem to be worried at all. Aod's frown deepened when he heard this. He couldn't help but take Qin Yu's casual attitude seriously. "Let's get back to the topic. From the looks of it, you don't seem to want to kill me this time. What is your purpose?" Seeing this, Qin Yu asked again. "I want the origin dragon blood of the 8 desolate wind flame dragon." Aod also became serious when they talked about business. "Sorry you're late. I've already refined the origin dragon blood of the 8 desolate wind flame dragon. If you want me to hand it over now, I'll have to refine myself." Qin Yu shrugged to express his regret. Of course, with the mystery of the Archean battle dragon art, there was a secret technique that could condense the 8 desolate wind flame dragon blood in Qin Yu's body. However, that would cause huge repercussions to Qin Yu. If it was light, his cultivation base would regress, and if it was heavy, he would die. This was naturally something that Qin Yu couldn't agree to. Then hand over the Origin Divine ability. Don't tell me that you've also refined the Origin Divine ability. Aodi's eyes darkened and his face didn't look very good, but he wasn't surprised. Because he had already sensed Aogio's origin bloodline from the dragon blood aura in Qin Yu's body. Now that the origin dragon blood was gone, he could only take back the Origin Divine ability. That's not it, but why should I agree to it? If I remember correctly, the relationship between us should be hostile, right? Qin Yu said faintly. It's very simple. If you don't agree, as long as I release the news that you're the Dragon God's sovereign reincarnation, then even if you can escape today, tomorrow you will become the eye of the storm in the entire spiritual state and the heavenly realm. As far as I know, many of the sovereigns that the Dragon God's sovereign offended in the past are still alive. Aod said coldly. Although he didn't find out about the battle in the Immortal God graveyard, he had investigated Qin Yu's connections in the past quite clearly. To be honest, Aod wasn't sure if Qin Yu was the Dragon God's sovereign reincarnation or had obtained the inheritance of the Dragon God sovereign. But this wasn't important. Since Qin Yu didn't look for his former friends and disciples, but chose to hide in the Sky Emperor Palace, that meant that Qin Yu didn't want his identity to be exposed. This guy, the Dragon Soul's eyelids twitched. Aod really caught his weakness. Even if there was no evidence, Qin Yu was the Dragon God sovereign. But as long as the news spread, the Star Luo and the 12 ancient emperors would definitely come. In the current situation, the only way to break out of this situation was to silence Aod. But with Aod's cultivation, even if Qin Yu used his trump card, he wouldn't be able to kill Aod. After all, Aod wasn't the same as the 3 sovereigns of the sacrificial evil god dynasty. It sounds like I don't have a choice. Qin Yu pondered for a moment and laughed, but I still won't agree to your conditions. The Dragon Soul's murderous intent soared. Qin Yu was going to make a move. Aod narrowed his eyes. Qin Yu's reaction was a little beyond his expectations. Originally, no matter what kind of status Qin Yu possessed, he would not be able to ignore this threat. Aren't you afraid that I will spread the news? Or do you think I'm just scaring you? Aod said. You said it yourself that you might spread the news. Then what's the use of giving you the divine ability of the 8 desolate wind flame dragon? Could it be that you won't threaten me again then? Qin Yu said calmly. He knew very well that Aod's goal was the dragon race in his body. If he couldn't restrain Aod, he would always be in a passive situation. To Qin Yu, this was something that was absolutely unacceptable. Anyway, he was already an Emperor Realm Master now. Exposing his identity was far from as bad as the Dragon Soul imagined. You're overthinking it. I came to you this time for 2 reasons. First, to take back the divine ability of the 8 desolate wind flame dragon. Second, to join forces with you. When Aod heard this, he replied. Chapter 432. Join forces. Qin Yu and the Dragon Soul were both stunned. They did not understand what Aod meant. Since you've subdued the Purple Thunder Divine Dragon, you should know who I am, right? Aod asked. Descendant of the Dragon Emperor. Qin Yu nodded slightly. There was no need to hide this. Then do you know that my ancestor left behind the land of inheritance when he passed away? Aod's words were shocking. Qin Yu and the Dragon Soul were both extremely shocked. The Dragon Emperor passed away? Qin Yu's expression finally changed. This news could be said to be extremely shocking. He had always thought that the Dragon Emperor was in existence like the 3 ancient emperors who had surpassed the Emperor realm and left the Sky region. After all, He was able to unify all the dragon tribes in the past and establish the eternal dragon nation. The Dragon Emperor's cultivation was definitely not weaker than the three ancient emperors. Why are you telling me about the land of inheritance that your ancestor left behind? Qin Yu came back to his senses. If the Dragon Emperor really passed away and left behind the land of inheritance, it would be an opportunity for him. The reason why I want to join forces with you is related to the land of inheritance of my ancestor. Aod noticed the change in Qin Yu's expression. Countless thoughts flashed through his mind. Qin Yu's reaction caused his originally somewhat chaotic thoughts to gradually become clear. What do you mean? Qin Yu raised his eyebrows. Qin Yu had vaguely guessed when Aod spoke about the land of inheritance of the Dragon Emperor. But he still did not expect that the matter of joining forces with Aod was really related to this. Because the land of inheritance has a boundary set up by my ancestor with the dragon blood. Unless I cultivate to the level of ancestral awakening, I can't break the boundary. So, I want to borrow your power. You can imprison the origin dragon blood like the dragon god emperor in the past, and you can also refine it, right? Aod said very seriously. This was the main reason why he came to Qin Yu. Although he and Qin Yu could be said to be life and death enemies before. But in the martial arts world where the strong were respected, everything was based on interest. In the face of great benefits, the previous hatred could be completely set aside. At the very least, they could let bygones be bygones before the goal of joining hands was achieved. This was just like the 9 prefectures of the heaven domain. Normally, there would be constant internal strife and killing. However, if the extraterritorial devil race were to invade, they would have to work together again. This was not to say that those top forces were worried about the safety of the billions of living beings in the 9 provinces. It was only because the invasion of the xenorace would surely affect their interests. Of course, the main reason was that Aod was not confident that he could control Qin Yu. If the bait plan had succeeded, he would never have told Qin Yu such an important thing. The blood of the Dragon Emperor, the eyes of the dragon's soul flickered with an intense light. If what Aod said was true, then it would be a great opportunity for them. Back then, the Dragon Emperor had definitely reached the level of a celestial dragon. Looks like we have to work together this time. Qin Yu made a decision. The temptation of this news was too great for him to refuse. Even if it was a trap, as long as the blood of the Dragon Emperor really existed. For Qin Yu, it was absolutely worth the risk. Where is your ancestor's place of inheritance? Immediately, Qin Yu asked. There is no hurry. My ancestor's place of inheritance has a cultivation restriction. One must reach the Emperor realm before they can enter. Aod was naturally happy that Qin Yu had agreed to join hands. After all, no matter what, Qin Yu was indeed able to use the methods of the Dragon God Emperor. That dragon blood barrier that had caused him to be helpless the entire time might really be broken through by Qin Yu. If he could not even do anything to the Dragon God Emperor, then he could only slowly cultivate and wait for the day when his bloodline returned to its ancestral state. You should have seen it just now. My strength is enough to kill an Emperor Realm Master. Qin Yu said. That is because you have borrowed the ancient divine power. Your cultivation is still only at rank 7 Martial Emperor. Your great Tao energy has yet to transform into Tao energy, so there is a natural gap between your cultivation realms. Aod shook his head slightly and said. Qin Yu had originally thought that if this matter were to be true, then he might be able to use this opportunity to break through to the Emperor realm. Now that Aod had said so, he could only suppress this thought. At this point, the two had temporarily joined hands. As for the 8 desolate wind flame dragons' source divine ability, Qin Yu did not hand it over to Aod. Joining hands was one thing, but they were still wary of each other. You still want to fight for the ancient divine power? Aod did not ask Qin Yu to hand over Aogio's source divine ability right now. They would talk about it after the matter of the ancient ruins was over. What? You don't seem to be interested? Qin Yu saw Aodi's expression and asked. Seeing that we are joining hands, I will give you a piece of advice. It is best not to get involved with these ancient divine powers. Aod thought for a moment and said, Do you also feel repulsed and disgusted by these ancient divine powers? Qin Yu thought for a moment and then asked. Although there was a huge gap in power. But the ancient divine powers in the god ruins and the divine power mark that Qin Yu controlled seemed to be of the same origin. Because the dragon soul and the purple thunder divine cloud dragon still felt repulsed by these ancient divine powers. You know? That's right. Aod was stunned and quickly reacted. Although Qin Yu was a human, his body was integrated with several types of dragon clan bloodlines. It was expected that he could sense the abnormality of these ancient divine powers. However, Qin Yu knew this, but he did not seem to be worried at all. This made Aod feel a little strange. Since you are already here, why don't you help me seize the ancient divine power? Qin Yu said with a smile. From Aod's reminder that the ancient divine power was strange, Qin Yu felt that the news about the Dragon Emperor's land of inheritance was most likely true. Okay. Aod looked at Qin Yu, pondered for a moment, and nodded in agreement. It just so happened that he was going to take this opportunity to observe Qin Yu's methods. Qin Yu being the reincarnation of the Dragon God Emperor, and just receiving the inheritance of the Dragon God Emperor were two completely different things. Immediately, Qin Yu and Aod were on guard against each other, and flew out of the Divine Palace together. Not long after, Qin Yu and Aod appeared in front of a Divine Palace. Qin Yu's strength was enough to kill a third-grade Emperor Realm Master. Now with Aod's help, Qin Yu could be said to be like a tiger that had grown wings. Along the way, more than 10 Divine Palace's phantoms were swept away and refined by Qin Yu. The venerable sovereigns who had fought for the ancient divine powers would also be robbed if they ran into them. The ancient divine powers were so powerful that Qin Yu could rob them regardless of whether they were friend or foe. Before officially entering the Emperor realm, the ancient divine powers would be a powerful trump card that was comparable to Azure Dragon Battle the Heavens. Aod attacked again and defeated 3 Emperor Realm Masters, while Qin Yu seized the ancient divine powers. Both of their expressions changed slightly, and they tilted their heads to look at the distant sky. In that direction they sensed a special fluctuation. The fluctuation was so mysterious that even Qin Yu and Aod could not sense it. Chapter 433. Qin Yu and Aod took a glance at each other. They both flew toward that direction. That fluctuation made them a little concerned. The power of the fluctuation seemed to be above that of the primordial divine power. Not long after, Qin Yu and Aod arrived before a 10,000-foot tall cliff in this divine remnant. In front of the cliff, there was a sea of rolling clouds. In the sea of fog, lightning flashed, fire roared, and floods surged. However, if one looked closely, they would find that these were just strange phenomena. The mysterious fluctuation that Qin Yu and Mu Qiqi had sensed was surprisingly coming from that sea of mist. Furthermore, the fluctuation was growing more and more intense. Suddenly, Qin Yu's brows slightly moved. The dragon soul even let out a light cry of surprise. The battle dragon vital energy in Qin Yu's body started to circulate in his main arteries and branch dragon veins. The circulation of the battle dragon vital energy was due to the immemorial battle dragon art. However, Qin Yu was not circulating it. In other words, the immemorial battle dragon art was circulating automatically after it sensed the mysterious fluctuation. This made Qin Yu feel very strange. It was the first time that the immemorial battle dragon art had done this. After carefully sensing for a while, Qin Yu rushed into the sea of fog. Aod took a glance at Qin Yu, who had a strange expression on his face. She then followed him in. What he saw during the battle with Qin Yu earlier caused him to feel even more fearful of Qin Yu's abilities, and he was even more certain of the guess in his heart. Since Qin Yu had rushed into the sea of fog, he must have found something. However, as soon as Aod rushed into the sea of fog, a wave of fog surged in front of him. Aod's eyes narrowed and he stopped. He saw that Qin Yu, who was supposed to be 100 feet in front of him, had disappeared with the wave of fog. Aod thought that Qin Yu had deliberately shaken him off. However, he soon found that there were extremely weak but chaotic spatial fluctuations in the sea of fog. It wasn't that Qin Yu had shaken him off, but that he had been unknowingly teleported away by those spatial fluctuations. At the thought of this, even Aod, who was extremely confident in his own strength, could not help but become extremely vigilant. He can't leave because of the teleportation. Within the sea of fog, the dragon soul, which was using its space-time ability, sensed that Aod had disappeared. Don't worry about him. Qin Yu ignored Aod. With Aod's strength, he should not be in any danger. On top of that, the mist seemed to be somehow related to the ancient battle dragon art. The immemorial combat dragon art was Qin Yu's biggest secret. Naturally, Qin Yu did not want Aod to know about it. Now that Aod had been teleported away, it was exactly what Qin Yu wanted. After flying for more than 6 hours in the sea of fog, Qin Yu relied on the fluctuations of the immemorial battle dragon art to reach the deepest part of the sea of fog. Fortunately, the dragon soul's understanding of the space-time divine ability had deepened. Otherwise, it would take at least a few days for them to enter the chaotic space. In the center of the sea of fog, there was an ancient sword floating quietly. The sword was 3 feet long and half a finger wide. It looked simple and ordinary. There was nothing special about it, as if it was a useless sword. Above the ancient sword, half a foot high in the air, there was a ball of white light floating in the sea of fog. The ball of light was crystal clear, as if it was made of crystal. There were countless images flashing inside. The mysterious fluctuation that Qin Yu sensed was shockingly being emitted from that ball of light. As he got closer to the ball of light, the immemorial battle dragon art in Qin Yu's body circulated more vigorously. What is this thing? Qin Yu stared at the white ball of light for a long time before he slowly approached it. Be careful, the dragon's soul reminded him. The reaction of the immemorial battle dragon art was too strange. There must be something wrong. There was definitely something strange about the white ball of light. Whoosh! When Qin Yu was only 100 feet away from the white ball of light, the white ball of light suddenly trembled with the battle dragon's true origin. Then, Qin Yu saw a flash of white light in front of his eyes. Before he could react, the white ball of light had already entered his glabella. At that moment, Qin Yu's consciousness blurred. The next moment, when Qin Yu regained consciousness, he discovered that he had arrived at a boundless land. There was a destructive battle taking place on the land. Countless creatures were fighting. Divine power raged between heaven and earth. The sky collapsed and the mountains shattered. It was as if the end of the world had come. This is the battle of the primordial gods? Qin Yu looked at the chaotic battle that was destroying the heaven and earth. Shock appeared in his eyes. Each of those creatures had unparalleled divine power. They were the primordial gods. Among those primordial gods, Qin Yu even saw the primordial heavenly Peng that he had refined and suppressed. The primordial heavenly Peng here was far superior to the divine power clone in the stone temple. Its ferocious aura was comparable to that of a primordial ferocious beast. It would kill any god or Buddha that stood in its way. Countless gods were crushed and killed by the primordial heavenly Peng. It was so ferocious when it was alive. It was no wonder that its divine power could still suppress the other primordial gods after so many years. Boom! Just as the thousands of gods were fighting and the land was about to be completely destroyed, above the 9 heavens, a gigantic palm that blotted out the sun descended from the sky, suppressing all the primordial gods. Countless profound immortal runes revolved around the giant palm. A vast and terrifying immortal power that could suppress heaven and earth was released. The giant palm suppressed with unparalleled power. No matter how the primordial gods struggled, they could not resist at all. In an instant, all the gods were buried by that palm's strike. Primordial, immortal power, Qin Yu's pupils shrank. Even his breathing seemed to have stopped at that moment. He had sensed the might of the primordial immortal power at close range in the ancient ruins in Sky Qilin City. However, there was a world of difference between the golden immortal Qi and the immortal power contained in the giant palm. While Qin Yu was in a daze, the scene in front of him kept changing. Numerous battles between ancient gods took place, but all of them were suppressed by the giant palm that blotted out the sky. Qin Yu counted carefully. A total of 8 primordial gods were suppressed. Time passed. Primordial immortal power surged between heaven and earth. Those suppressed primordial gods turned into divine palaces, as if to leave behind their immortal power inheritance. The primordial gods' ancient ruins were born from this. After the suppression of the primordial gods' ancient ruins ended, Qin Yu's consciousness left the scene of the primordial gods' ancient ruins and returned to his body. Could there be 8 primordial gods' ancient ruins? The dragon's soul said in shock. He and Qin Yu had the same consciousness. With Qin Yu's help, he could see the scene of the primordial gods being suppressed. Qin Yu did not speak. His entire mind was filled with the image of the giant palm that had suppressed the primordial gods' ancient ruins. Without a doubt, that giant palm was an ancient immortal who had survived from the primordial era. Those 8 primordial gods' ancient ruins were definitely the main reason for the disappearance of the primordial immortal power. If not for those 8 times of suppression, then even if the Tao of true essence was spread out, it would have been impossible. Given the number of primordial gods, it was more than enough to erase the path of true essence. It was precisely because of those 8 great wars that countless ancient gods were suppressed. This was why the primordial divine power was replaced by the veritable essence Tao under the general trend. However, what Qin Yu cared about was the owner of the giant palm. The immemorial battle dragon art reacted intensely when the gigantic palm appeared. Was the owner of the giant palm somehow related to the ancient battle dragon art? Chapter 434. When this thought came to his mind, Qin Yu subconsciously thought of the forbidden zone of the heaven domain, the immortal treasury. The immemorial battle dragon art was left in the immortal treasury by someone. If the owner of the giant palm was really related to the immemorial battle dragon art, there was an 80 to 90% chance that the immortal treasury had something to do with it. If he could figure out its identity, it might be of great help to him when he entered the core of the immortal treasury in the future. Thinking of this, Qin Yu focused and sensed the white ball of light that had entered the battle dragon true essence in his dantian. At this time, the white ball of light had gradually merged with the battle dragon true essence. Vaguely, Qin Yu felt that the battle dragon true essence seemed to have undergone some kind of transformation. Even the immemorial battle dragon art seemed to have changed. It was as if some kind of seal of the immemorial battle dragon art had been unlocked. This feeling was quite strange, because Qin Yu could not sense what exactly had changed, but the feeling was quite obvious. When the white ball of light completely dissipated, Qin Yu's consciousness came out of his dantian. There was some kind of change in his cultivation method, but he could not find out where the problem was. If this happened to an ordinary person, they would have changed their cultivation method long ago. But Qin Yu did not have such thoughts, because he had not thoroughly studied the immemorial battle dragon art. And he also had a feeling that the fusion of the white ball of light was beneficial to the immemorial battle dragon art. Qin Yu, who was about to leave, noticed that the ancient sword was still quietly floating in the sea of fog. This white ball of light recorded the great battle of the ancient gods. Then this ancient sword should also be left behind from the ancient times. Qin Yu thought for a moment, flew over and grabbed the ancient sword. Boom! The moment Qin Yu touched it, a monstrous killing intent erupted from the ancient sword without any warning, crazily rushing into Qin Yu's body. That monstrous killing intent was incomparably terrifying, and it seemed to have a consciousness, wanting to occupy Qin Yu's soul. Immortal extermination painting. Qin Yu's mind was shaken. Without thinking, he immediately activated the extermination immortal painting sealed in the ancient seal of the dragon god. Within the god's punishment array, a monstrous killing intent also appeared. Like a torrent, it intercepted the ancient sword's killing intent midway. Pucci! The two monstrous killing intents were like two world-destroying demonic beasts colliding in his body. Qin Yu's body shook violently. His face paled and he spat out a mouthful of blood. His skin was covered with cracks. Even with the power of the mighty body of the dragon god, it was difficult to withstand the power of the two terrifying killing intents. However, the moment the skin cracked, Qin Yu's dragon energy appeared, and the wounds healed immediately. The torn flesh and bones in his body healed quickly with the help of the dragon qi. Amidst this continuous destruction and healing, the two monstrous murderous intents that used Qin Yu's body as a battlefield gradually emerged. The destructive killing intent contained within the ancient sword was indeed terrifying. However, Qin Yu paid the price of being seriously injured to draw out a small amount of killing intent from the immortal extermination formation. The destructive killing intent was directly annihilated. The immortal extermination painting contained 3 killing arrays: the heaven extermination array, the god extermination array, and the immortal extermination array. When Qin Yu was in the heavenly dragon continent, the heaven extermination array was his greatest trump card. Even the current Qin Yu found it difficult to withstand the power of the god extermination array. Only when one stepped into the Emperor realm could the mighty body of the dragon god ignore the power of the god extermination array. As for the immortal extermination array, Qin Yu had only completely unleashed it once in his previous life. That was when the immortal god graveyard was besieged and in a hopeless situation, the immortal extermination array's power exploded. The result was that Qin Yu's body was directly annihilated, and Xing Luo and the 12 ancient emperors were severely injured. It was also because of that slight opportunity that the dragon soul could escape into the endless void with the divine dragon ancient seal. One had to know that Qin Yu's cultivation was at the peak of the emperor realm in his previous life. The mighty body of the dragon god was more than 1,000,000 times stronger than it was now. Although it had not reached the immortal realm, it could directly withstand Dao art attacks of the same level with its physical body. The mighty body of the dragon god of that level exploded the moment the power of the immortal extermination array exploded. Naturally, one could imagine how powerful the immortal extermination array was. No matter how strong the killing intent of the ancient sword was, it naturally could not withstand the killing intent of the immortal extermination array. But in the next moment, a scene that surprised Qin Yu appeared. After the killing intent of the ancient sword was crushed by the killing intent of the immortal extermination array, it actually absorbed the killing intent of the immortal extermination array. Buzz! Buzz! The ancient sword, which was originally like an inanimate object, trembled violently after the killing intent of the immortal extermination array entered it. A burst of sword intent swept through the sea of fog, causing one's heart to palpitate. Silver sword inscriptions appeared on the ancient sword. 3 silver ancient words appeared on the sword hilt: God-slaying sword. It's the God-slaying sword! 2 exclamations sounded. Qin Yu and the dragon soul were extremely shocked. It was rumored that the God-slaying sword was born in the ancient era of saints and was forged by an unknown sword cultivator. That sword cultivator had comprehended the path of vital essence in the era of divine power and created the supreme sword Tao. Countless gods had been sacrificed to his sword by him. At the end of the era of divine power, There were records of that sword cultivator's figure in various ancient books. Many later generations even believed that the destruction of the era of divine power was caused by that sword cultivator. Judging from the fact that the god-slaying sword and the mysterious ball of light were together, that sword cultivator must have seen the gods being suppressed, so he rose up to fight back. He killed many gods who were lucky enough to survive and allowed the path of vital essence to flourish. Of course, Qin Yu could not deduce the specifics, and Qin Yu was not interested in learning about it. Although he was seriously injured, Qin Yu was now extremely happy. This was because the god-slaying sword was an ancient immortal sword that was even rarer than ancient divine weapons. It could be called a true immortal treasure. More importantly, the god-slaying sword could contain the killing intent of the immortal extermination array, which would become another huge killing move. Although Qin Yu was not proficient in the way of the sword, with this god-slaying sword, his strength would definitely soar. For Qin Yu, who was eager to improve his cultivation, this was naturally an extremely exciting matter. Carrying the god-slaying sword on his back, Qin Yu sat cross-legged in the air and swallowed several high-level divine elixirs to heal his injuries. Majestic dragon qi also surged out of the ancient seal of the divine dragon, merging into Qin Yu's limbs and bones. Qin Yu's originally serious injuries were quickly healing. At the moment when Qin Yu was healing his injuries, a pair of eyes were looking at him from the shadows. It was Aod, who had sensed the sword intent of the god-slaying sword and rushed over. Aod looked at Qin Yu, and there were several times when he wanted to attack. Although Qin Yu's injuries had healed considerably, his situation was still not optimistic. However, Aod finally suppressed the impulse in his heart. Qin Yu was indeed injured, but he still gave him a great sense of fear. To be honest, Aod was not 100% confident that he could defeat Qin Yu. Once they made a move, the alliance that they had formed previously would immediately go their separate ways. After a total of 3 days, the injuries in Qin Yu's body were completely healed. Qin Yu opened his eyes, stood up, and looked in Aod's direction. When Aod had just approached, the dragon's soul had sensed it. However, seeing that Aod had no intention of attacking, Qin Yu simply treated Aod as a bodyguard and started to heal his injuries. Now that his injuries were all healed, it was about time to leave. Chapter 435. I'll have to trouble you to protect me. With the ancient sword on his back, Qin Yu smiled at Aod, who was walking out. Not really. After all, no one came here. Hearing Qin Yu's words, Aod knew that he had been discovered by Qin Yu. He was glad that he did not make a move earlier. Moreover, Qin Yu's shrewdness made Aod even more wary of Qin Yu. He had also become even more certain that Qin Yu was most likely the Dragon God Emperor's reincarnation. It's been 3 days. I'm afraid that most of the divine power in this ancient ruin has been plundered. Qin Yu was thinking as he flew toward the outside of the misty ocean. If there was no more divine power to fight for, there was no need for Qin Yu to stay in this ancient ruin. Someone is coming. This aura. At this moment, Long Hun sensed something and his eyes lit up. It's the ancient demon clan. The ancient demon clan? Even the extraterrestrials have received the news? Or? Qin Yu's expression changed slightly. What's wrong? Long Hun asked. Dragon Soul, do you think that the appearance of this ancient ruin has something to do with the ancient demon clan? Qin Yu just remembered the divine power mark on his palm. He had obtained it from the extraterrestrial demons when they invaded the 4 Black Tortoise world. At that time, the ancient demon clan and the extraterrestrial demons had joined forces. Qin Yu had not thought of this before. However, now that the ancient demon clan had appeared in this ancient ruin, wasn't this too much of a coincidence? It shouldn't be, right? How could the ancient demon clan have such great ability to control this ancient ruin? Moreover, the appearance of this ancient ruin will not do any harm to the Qingyun realm, right? It might even allow the Qingyun realm to research new divine power or to cultivate the ancient divine power without the need for the power of faith. After listening to Qin Yu's analysis, Long Hun was stunned for a moment before he spoke. That's true. Qin Yu thought about it and felt that what the dragon's soul said made sense. It seemed like the appearance of the ancient demon clan was only because the outer realms had received the news and sent them here. Immediately, Qin Yu withdrew his aura and entered the sea of fog. Aod was prepared this time, so he wasn't teleported away. However, Qin Yu's actions made him feel a little strange. This is the fluctuation of an ancient demon? However, Aod soon sensed the arrival of the ancient demons. He glanced at Qin Yu discreetly with a strange look in his eyes. Qin Yu must have discovered the ancient devil clan as well, but he was much faster than him in discovering them. This was out of Aod's expectations. After all, even though Qin Yu's battle power had reached the Emperor realm, his actual cultivation was only that of a rank 7 martial emperor. Whoosh! Not long after, a figure flew away at an incredible speed. He accurately avoided the chaotic space and flew straight to the center of the sea of fog. This person was none other than the handsome man in white from the two ancient demons. Sensing that the handsome man in white was flying directly to the center of the sea of fog, Qin Yu's eyes flickered. Could it be that the handsome man in white knew that the god-slaying sword was in the sea of fog? It can't be. The dragon soul's eyes flickered with shock. Could Qin Yu's guess be true? Was the appearance of the ancient god's relic really related to the ancient demon clan? If it was true, then the ancient demon clan and the outer realm demon clan must be planning something big. No matter what, the outer realm demon clan wouldn't do anything that would benefit the outer realm. The blood feud between the two sides had lasted since the ancient god's relic. It couldn't be resolved no matter what. Do me a favor. Qin Yu pondered for a moment and looked at Aod who was beside him. You want to attack the ancient demon clan? Aod raised his eyebrows. That's right. Qin Yu nodded. To be honest, he was quite concerned about the ancient demon clan's plan. However, even though his combat strength was extraordinary now, he still had many ways to protect himself. However, it was still difficult for him to deal with high-level and top-notch sovereigns. For example, he couldn't suppress Aod. At most, he had ways to resist and then escape. The ancient devil clan has provoked a lot of trouble. Although their clan has been banished to the outer realm, the ancient devil clan is still very powerful. Although they were exiled from the outer realm, after all these years of reproduction, they now have an overlord status in the outer realm. Their strength is even stronger than some supreme orthodoxies in the middle state of the outer realm. After becoming the Dragon Emperor, Aod had been to the outer realm many times. He knew more about the outer realm than many forces in the outer realm. This is not the outer realm. Qin Yu looked at Aod calmly, waiting for his decision. Why do you want to attack the outer realm demon clan? Aod asked directly. Although he had helped Qin Yu obtain the ancient divine power, he only wanted to see what Qin Yu was capable of. Now that he wanted to deal with the ancient demon clan, the meaning was different. He didn't have the obligation to help Qin Yu unconditionally. No special purpose. I just feel that the ancient demon clan might be behind the appearance of this ancient ruin. Qin Yu said directly. How is that possible? Aod didn't believe that the ancient demon clan would help the outer realm with their status in the outer realm. That's why I want to investigate, Qin Yu said. I can help you, but I want to know if there's really no way to condense the origin dragon blood of the 8 Baron Wind Flame Dragon? Aogio's origin dragon blood was something that Aod was quite concerned about. After all, Qin Yu had taken Aogio's origin dragon blood because of his plan. There's a way to condense it in the future, but not now, Qin Yu said with a calm expression. Let's go. Aod's eyes lit up and agreed to help. Qin Yu smiled and immediately went into hiding. He didn't lie to AOD. He didn't refine the origin dragon blood of the 8 Baron Wind Flame Dragon. In Qin Yu's plan, AOD and Aojiu would be captured by him and brought to the Eternal Dragon in the future. That was why he kept the origin dragon blood. In this way, the 8 Baron Wind Flame Dragon would have the potential to improve its cultivation in the future, just like the sky-incinerating Golden Flame Dragon. Of course, the premise was that Aojiu was willing to submit to him. Otherwise, Qin Yu had the means to destroy the origin dragon blood even if he took it back. What's going on? Where's the God Slayer? At this moment, the handsome man in white had already appeared in the center of the fog. But when he arrived, his face froze. The God Slayer, which should have been here, had disappeared. Immediately, a compass appeared in the hand of the handsome man in white. As the spiritual inscriptions shone, a light spot appeared on the compass and pointed to the direction behind him. Almost at this moment, an extremely terrifying chill attacked him from the left like lightning. Oh no! The handsome man in white's face changed drastically. Without thinking, he crushed the compass in his hand. There was a loud bang. Boundless ancient demonic chi appeared from the shattered compass. Demonic chi swept out like a huge wave, crashing into the terrifying chill that was attacking him. Crack! As soon as the demonic chi rushed out, it was immediately frozen and turned into a layer of sparkling ice. However, with this momentary delay, the handsome man in white managed to dodge the attack. Slash! But at this moment, a figure with monstrous killing intent appeared like a ghost and slashed at him. In the sea of fog, a huge spatial crack immediately appeared. Chapter 436. God's Slaying Sword? The eyes of the handsome man in white shrank. He immediately formed a seal with his hands, which turned into an ancient tablet and slammed it forward. With a swoosh, the ancient tablet filled with demon chi was cut in half by the sword. A destructive killing intent tore through the void. The demon chi around the handsome man in white was torn apart. A deep sword wound appeared on his body, revealing his bones. Blood and flesh splattered everywhere. However, it did not cause any fatal injuries to the handsome man in white. At the critical moment, the handsome man in white dodged the attack. Ice seal. However, at this moment, a sharp ice arrow pierced through the void. The cold chi was so strong that the void was sealed in deep ice. It could not even tear the void apart. Demon shadows filled the sky. The handsome man in white gritted his teeth, slammed his chest, and spat out a mouthful of blood essence. Immediately, countless demon chi shadows filled the area within a 100-mile radius. Although there were countless demonic chi shadows that were frozen the moment they appeared. However, in the next moment, several demon chi shadows condensed 100 miles away. The handsome man in white appeared. He turned around. With a pale and weak face, he stared gloomily at Qin Yu and AOD, who had cooperated with him in the sneak attack. However, his attention was more focused on the God-slaying sword in Qin Yu's hand. No wonder the God-slaying sword was missing. He did not expect someone to beat him to it. However, what the handsome man in white could not figure out was that there was an ancient barrier in the fog sea. Even if an Emperor Realm Master broke in, he would not be able to enter the central area of the fog sea without using a special secret technique. How did Qin Yu do it? You can even escape under such circumstances, as expected of the ancient demon race. AOD seemed to exclaim in admiration. However, in reality, he could tell that the white-robed handsome man had already paid a heavy price for the secret technique he had used to escape earlier. His strength would be greatly reduced. Otherwise, he would not have been able to escape from the joint attack of him and Qin Yu. Dragon race. Hearing AOD's words, the handsome man in white shifted his gaze from the god-slaying sword to AOD. Immediately after, the handsome man in white's eyes flashed. He could tell that AOD was from the dragon race. You dragons and us ancient devils have always minded our own business in the outer realms, Nietion said. Why are you helping the human race today? Have you already subdued the human race? The handsome man in white robes sized up Aod and Chinyu, trying to guess their relationship. To be honest, I didn't want to do it either, but it's your ancient demon clan's fault for bringing out the ancient ruins of the ancient gods. I'm really curious. What is your ancient demon clan planning? Aod looked at the handsome man in white with great interest. From his words, it seemed that he was certain that the ancient demon clan was behind this. What do you mean by what we're planning? What does the appearance of the ancient ruins have to do with us? If we had known that there was an ancient relic here, we wouldn't have stayed in the heaven domain. The white-clothed handsome man's heart jumped. However, he was also someone who had lived for hundreds of years, so he wasn't fooled so easily. Since you don't want to talk about it, I'll have to do it myself. Aod's eyes flashed and he didn't say anything else. Cold air surged and condensed into a giant ice dragon in the void. The dragon's power was vast and mighty. Whoosh! Suddenly, a dazzling black light shot toward them with terrifying killing intent. Aod and Chinyu sensed it immediately and they quickly attacked. The black light was immediately shattered. As the clouds parted, a burly man in black robes with a ferocious demonic mark on his face appeared. He stared at them coldly. Now it's 2 against 1. A cold sneer appeared on the face of the handsome man in white. In his eyes, only Aod could be their opponent. As for Chinyu, if he hadn't been caught off guard by the sneak attack, Chinyu wouldn't have been injured by Chinyu even if he had the Godslayer. Are you confident in taking him down? Chinyu asked. The handsome man in white robes was seriously injured. If Aod attacked with all his strength, he should be able to suppress him. As for the burly man in black robes, Chinyu was confident that he could stop him with the innate advantage of the fog sea. Aod didn't dare to make any promises, but the cold air around him became even more intense. It was not easy to suppress a top sovereign master, unless the other party didn't escape and kept fighting him head-on. Kill that boy, the handsome man in white robes said ferociously when he saw the situation. Then, he rushed toward Aod with a terrifying demonic aura. Die. The burly man in black robes rushed toward Chinyu with murderous intent. Terrifying demonic aura swept through the world like giant demonic dragons, as if they had the power to destroy the world. Space-time turbulence. Chinyu was not afraid and rushed forward with his sword. The moment he rushed out, the dragon's soul in the divine dragon ancient seal changed its hands. A frightening space-time energy burst forth from Chinyu's body and assimilated into that sea of fog. Immediately, the chaotic space-time force in the fog sea was mobilized by the space-time force. It surged back and forth in the void like a tide, and countless pitch-black space-time cracks appeared. Space-time divine ability? The burly man in black robes was shocked and immediately changed his attack. The demonic aura swept out and turned into a terrifying vortex. With him as the center, the vortex spun wildly and blocked all the space-time cracks. Chirp! Chinyu swung his sword and rushed forward. A vast ancient divine power appeared. Behind him, an ancient heavenly ping appeared. Its cold eyes stared at the man in black robes. The handsome man in white robes was fighting with Aod. When he saw the ancient heavenly ping behind Chinyu, his face showed a hint of shock and disbelief. Not only the Godslayer sword, but even the ancient heavenly ping's divine power was taken by him? Not only the handsome man in white robes, but the burly man in black robes was even more shocked. Let's go. Something that exceeded Chinyu and Aod's expectations occurred. The handsome man in white robes and the burly man in black robes looked at each other and used their secret techniques to retreat. Aod, who had used his origin source superpower to freeze the world, was unable to stop the 2 ancient demons. After all, their cultivation was not much weaker than Aod. If they used their secret techniques to escape, the possibility of stopping them was not high. Of course, if it was a fight to the death, AOD was confident that he could deal with the two ancient demons. "It seems that we have alerted the enemy," the dragon soul said. "If it was 2 against 1, the handsome man in white robes might not be able to escape today. However, if it was 2 against 2, it would be difficult for them to stop the other party. The ancient ruins might be related to the extraterritorial demon race. Although they had alerted the enemy, Qin Yu had disguised himself. He was not afraid of his identity being exposed. Furthermore, it wasn't like Qin Yu didn't gain anything. The shock on the faces of the two ancient demons when they saw the ancient heavenly Pung was enough to explain many things. Of course, after today's incident, it would be difficult to find out the demon race's conspiracy. You're tuning in to the Phoenix Knights YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.